Hello everyone, welcome to race day 2 of round 1 of the Ferrari Challenge Europe for 2025. We are here at Monza, and it is the Coppa Shell Am race 2 that will be getting underway very, very soon. And as you can see, the grid is assembled as we speak, and so too all the guests and families and engineers and drivers and lots of people down there to really take part in the atmosphere of the Ferrari Challenge ahead of the start of this Coppa Shell Am race. And this is it, the Temple of Speed, Monza. Welcome to it. A really, really demanding track for our drivers that forms the opening round of our 2025 calendar. From here we head off to Misano. Then it's Hockenheim, then Brno, then Valencia, then Barcelona. Spa-Francorchamps is round 7, and then the finale Mondiale, the final event of the year, is towards the end of October at Mugello. The Alps as a backdrop, what a beautiful sight it is. Track temperature 38 degrees, the air temperature significantly warmer than we had for qualifying earlier on. It's now 21 degrees, so it's a nice and pleasant day here in Italy. We're about 20 kilometers, I guess, from central Milan, and a number of people here to enjoy the action to come from the Ferrari Challenge, and lots to excite and enjoy across 3 races that we are able to bring you from the Coppa Shell Am, from the Coppa Shell drivers, also from the Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli Am drivers, and really entering into the spirit of it there as the flags are flying nicely. So with our camera down there on the grid, you can see how this grid has assembled and just how many people are down there enjoying their time with the Ferrari Challenge, which is what it is all about. Good to see. And this then, the opening round of the 2025 season. And there is the driver and car combo that is on pole position for Autohaus Ulrich, Boris Gideon, going from P1. He was P1 yesterday and won the race yesterday, and he's hoping, of course, to repeat that feat today. And he's put himself in the best possible position to do so by starting from pole position and gaining the additional point you get for pole position in qualifying as well. Sven Schirmer, the Penske Sport Wagen Hamburg driver, is going from P2 on the grid. His lap time of 1:46, just bested by Boris Gideon. To the right-hand side of the picture, you can see Pino Frascaro, and lots and lots of people as our camera crew try and navigate their way through everyone that's down there on the grid. The Richard Mills safety car that will be leading the cars away on their formation lap. Always a rolling start with the Ferrari Challenge. It becomes the responsibility of Boris Gideon and Sven Schirmer to control the pace of the rolling start when the Richard Mills safety car pulls off into the pit lane. So I mentioned then that Boris Gideon was victorious yesterday in race 1 for Coppa Shell Am. Let's take a look at the highlights. Here we are then, Monza, around about 20 kilometers from central Milan. We go racing. Who's going to be first to show into that Variante Retafio? The first chicane then, side by side they go. As getting ever closer to Boris Gideon is there. One car makes contact with the barriers. We get ready to go again. And there you can see, I think Boris has done a really good job there. There is Boris Gideon. Henrik Kamstrup running P2, then it is Shintaro Akatsu, then Sven Schirmer, Pino Frascaro, Norikatsu, Shibata, Paolo Scudieri, Guy Favre. Takes a look at the inside. Paolo Scudieri, though, does he carry too much speed? The classic switchback there. And is there going to be a double switchback as Paolo Scudieri has the last laugh? Side by side they go, start finish straight then over the timing line. It looks like Paolo Scudieri is going to have the inside line for the chicane. And meantime, Lisa Clark has got by Louis Peruscua. So now Louis is going to have Alvaro Ramos, but Luis not done with this either as they go side by side all the way around the Curva Grande. And waved atop of the Boris Gideon car, winner in Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell-Am. Boris Gideon, it was a perfect day. Well, that was, and they were, the highlights from the Coppa Shell-Am race one yesterday, which was pretty entertaining. We're looking for the same today, and I'm sure we will get the same today from our 16 drivers that are lined up out there ready to go. So here we can see just how many people are about to enjoy the 30-minute plus 1 lap race to come. And across all our classes during the course of the afternoon, but the Coppa Shell-Am are the first of them to show. There is the track diagram on the steering wheel. As we come out of being inside the car, the Paolo Scudieri car with Stefano Gai, Paolo's driver coach, just shaking his hand and wishing him well for the race. Paolo Scudieri then probably qualifying out of position, I would suggest. He's going from P9 on the grid and will probably feel he should have been further up the order than that, but he is going from P9 and he knows how to overtake, though, as we look at the number 180 car, which is driven by Alois Mer, driver of Go Motorsport Engstler engineered 296 Challenge. And the 199 car, which is going from P8 on the grid, is Alexei Komarov. I was speaking to Alexei just a few moments ago. He drives for the Scuderia Prague racing team. And Alexei's grid time of 1:46.977 from qualifying gave him the position to be P8 on the grid. That's a wonderful sight. The grid of cars, and then above them, look at that. Fantastic example of all the Corsa Clienti programs that form part of the Ferrari Corsa Clienti offering. And the Richard Mills safety car will be leading those cars away. But before it does that, let's hear from our Go Motorsport Engstler driver, Friedrich Müller.
It's great to be part of that family of great drivers like Niki Lauda, Gerhard Berger, Michael Schumacher, Lewis Hamilton. So you drive the same brand and it's great to be part of it. The 296, of course, is a much quicker car. It's much more difficult at the brakes, but normally it's great to drive it. You see the evolution of the car. So you, as a race driver, you always want to have the newest and fastest car. It was the first time that I drove the car today, and I had a coach with me, and we tried a lot of laps, and we improved and improved, and it was great to drive it, and it became easier and easier. It's worth to drive the new car. 296, it's much more better. It's important with the dealer you work with, and of course with the coach, because he teaches you how to do. He has a lot of experience. He did a lot of races, so he can explain you very exactly what to do, in which corner, where you should brake, and so on. For this season, my expectation is to be maybe in the top 10, because it's the first time to drive that car in this season, so that would be a good target I wanted to catch.
Great to hear from Friedrich Müller, and a big thumbs up towards the end. Of course, the driver coach sitting next to him, none other than Luca Engstler, who, he was right. He knows a thing or two about winning races. Okay, this is the Temple of Speed then. The Monza circuit, 12 turns, 4 left, 8 right-handers. Circuit duration length, if you will, 5.793 kilometers. It was founded back in 1922. Let's get the race underway. Cars led off then by the safety car, and we'll bring you the grid in full from back to front so that you can see all the competitors in this Coppa Shell-Am Race 2 of the weekend. Been plenty of drama surrounding the racing all over the weekend, and there you can see that first turn one sequence through the Variante Trofeo. How tight that is. I walked the track on Friday night, and it's not until you really experience it you will really appreciate it. Louis Perusquia goes from P16, from P15 Germano Toniella. It's Lisa Clark and Alvaro Ramos on the 7th row of the grid. Frederick Miller, who we just heard from, and Guy Favet go from P12 and P11 respectively. It's Hassan Debussy and Paolo Scudieri on the 5th row of the grid. To the 4th row, where we find Alexei Komarov and Pino Frascaro. Good qualifying from those drivers. Alwa Mer and Norikatsu Shibata go from P6 and P5. With Shintaro Akatsu and Henrik Kamstrup on the 2nd row of the grid. And Sven Schirmer and Boris Gideon go from P1 and P2. So Sven Schirmer P2, Boris Gideon once again going from P1. So another pole position for Boris Gideon. Can he convert it into the race win? Let's hear from him now.
Nice qualifying, pole position, very, very happy with that. And now looking forward with my colleagues to have a good start in the race in the afternoon. Thank you.
Go for it, Boris. I'm sure he will be completely determined, of course. But half the work is done in qualifying, in my opinion. And he's done the best job he could. And going from P1, surely he will feel uber confident about being able to convert it once again as he did yesterday. Sven Schirmer will have a different opinion, and Henrik Kamstrup will be right up his trumpet going from P3. Will also feel the same way, as indeed might Shintaro Akatsu. Just time to introduce my colleague alongside me here, Nico Spalek. Sorry, I've not even been able to introduce you. We've been so busy in the build-up to this second of the Coppa Shalom races.
Yeah, welcome everybody. It is time for Sunday races, and we had quite a dramatic race yesterday. Obviously Monza with its speed and the chicanes, always the potential for drama. We hope that everybody gets through that first pinch point of lap 1, the chicane all right, and obviously Boris Gideon, he did it all correct in the qualifying in the race yesterday. He will hope for a replication, but you never know.
30 minutes plus 1 lap. Thank you, Nico. Yes, that's precisely what we were expecting and hoping for. The Richard Mills safety car then, as I mentioned, will peel off into the pit lane. We'll throw the lighting gantry to the top of the screen for you so that you can see when the lights go out and we go racing. All the cars and drivers have to go through their grid boxes to make sure the formation lap is accurate. Make sure every driver is where they should be. No one getting an advantage or disadvantage at the start. Sven Schirmer looking very lively. So too Boris Gideon. Those are on the front row. Let's go racing. Henrik Kamstrup looking very lively in the all-blue car, and Sven Schirmer. It's a drag race into the chicane. If Sven Schirmer can keep alongside Boris Gideon, I don't think he's going to be able to. Boris Gideon doing a very good job. Through into turn 1 they go, and good save there from what I think was one of the Exler cars going through. It may have been the car of Awamer, just avoiding anybody else to the Cova Grande for the first time of asking then, and heading up towards the second chicane. And it is Boris Gideon, P1. There was a touch. And I think that touch came from Shintaro Akatsu potentially onto the back of another car, which sent the car spinning around.
I think it was Anders Meyer, who was really, really lucky at the beginning.
Yes.
Did not collect anybody, but that luck quickly ran out into the second chicane. And he's able to rejoin. Let's hope there was no damage sustained as a result of that incident and contact. There we see it again.
Oh, and you can see there, desperately trying to brake, desperately trying to slow down, desperately trying to avoid contact was Shintaro Akatsu, but wasn't quite able to do so. And it was a big save for the second time of asking from the 180 driver, Alwa Mer, who also was in strife going through the first chicane.
Yeah, and that was really, really lucky, because there was no way he could get the car to a halt. And just fortunate there was no car, and he got it sideways and stopped and rotated just in time. So disaster and incident avoided there. Not on the second time, but certainly with less consequences that could have happened in the first turn.
Big shout out to Norikatsu Shibata, who from the start moved himself up to P3. And look, he's not happy with that. He's actually taken a look at the inside of Sven Schirmer to try and wrestle that P2 position away. Lurking in the background is Henrik Kamstrup as well, and then it is Alexei Komarov. A good start from Alexei Komarov, finding himself up to P5. There you can see Shintaro Katsu walking away, and he is perfectly okay. Boris Gideon leading Sven Schirmer. Then it is Norikatsu Shibata. Shibata looking very, very lively. Sven Schirmer bouncing across the curbs there in his quest to get on terms with Boris Gideon, who's already eked out a 1.326 second margin between P1 and P2. Henrik Kamstrup still in the mix here and knows that he has got to, because he's dropped a place effectively, as the progress chart tells us there, because Norikatsu Shibata moved up 2 places. Alexei Komarov moving up 3, and that's also the case for Paolo Scudieri as well, who'll have the bit between his teeth in terms of wanting to make further progress. Boris Gideon adding some more time to that gap. Sven Schirmer, P2, Norikatsu Shibata, P3, and then Henrik Kamstrup just taking a look, but I don't think he's quite close enough along this straight into the Parabolica. But if he gets a very good exit from the Parabolica and lines up Shibata going into the first chicane, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to wrap that up, Alois Meyer has closed up with the end of the Crocodile, so apparently no pace lost in the car, so he's back. And yeah, for Kamstrup, it's about, somewhat to see what happens in front of him with Shibata and Schirmer, because if Shibata really closes on to the German, then maybe he's going to be held up, and that would open an opportunity for Henrik Kamstrup. So having to drive with his head, however, also just getting a track limit infraction.
Keep that borne in mind then. And the deal is with track limits, you get a couple of warnings. On the third warning, you could pick up a time penalty. Now that's where Norikatsu Shibata, where it worked for him, because he had the inside line. You could see there, good avoidance. To be fair, I mean, that was so difficult for Alois Meyer, but, he was kind of threading through the eye of a needle, wasn't he? In terms of trying to avoid any other contact or any other cars. Look, because once you're on the grass, you actually start accelerating, but he didn't get to the grass until much later than I thought, Nico.
Yeah, and I actually think I misidentified him initially, and apologies. I think that's Alexei Komarov, actually, because Meyer is on the inside. So, apologies. The white, blue, and red, a little bit similar, so I think I misidentified that. Start under investigation, that's the other part. As you said, you have to run through your grid boxes. I'm not sure everybody did, so that's something race control will have a look at if someone ran afoul of that rule.
Okay, so that colours in the detail that we perhaps needed then, that it was Alexei Komarov, we think, rather than Alois. However, Alois then found the second chicane. That's for sure, no question about that. Right, here you can see, great job being done by Boris Gideon, who's extending his lead still further. Sven Schirmer now, I feel, is adopting something of a defensive drive against Shibata, perhaps. And Henrik Kamstrup, I can't help but feel, maybe you're right here, is just kind of waiting for it all to break out in front of him. Meantime, Louis Peruskia and Lisa Clark together in P11 and P12. And right behind them is Friedrich Müller. And then it is Meyer, who has come back, got past Germano Toniella already. And as you rightly say, Nico, clearly nothing wrong with the car. Just a whole lot of cars he's going to have to go by now as Lisa Clark dives to the inside of Louis Peruskia. Not quite doing, but certainly having a look to North American racers who also race in Europe, and we're delighted that they are here.
Yeah, and there's Alois Meyer, who's now on the back of Lisa Clark, as Germano Toniella has also gotten by the Friedrich Müller car. And it's a little bit of a replication of yesterday, where we had a similar fight group towards this P10 or so position. So Good to see those together again. And Henrik Hamstrup has already picked up his second track limit infraction very early on. So in his quest to get on terms with the podium position, a little bit wayward.
Yeah, maybe so. Yes, maybe so. So we keep our eyes on that as Pino Frascaro having a real go here, all over the back of that number 120 car of Guy Favre. There was a sharp inhale of breath there because I think there was almost contact between the two of them. But right, Pino now with a very, very good exit from the Parabolica. Now, Guy Favre surely will defend the inside line as they head towards the first chicane. Otherwise, will Pino be late and brake to the inside? No, not quite close enough to be able to do so. You carry so much speed into that chicane. This is the fight that we are enjoying for P7 at the moment between the Scuderia FMA driver Guy Favre and the Rosso Corsa driver Pino Frascaro.
And that's where Guy got by Pino initially, and then Pino tried to come back. And clearly that battle is not over yet, and neither is the battle for the podium positions. Henrik Hamstrup now has regrouped and is trying to keep it between the white lines. He's got one more freebie, but after that it becomes punishing.
It's vulnerable, isn't it?
Right.
It's vulnerable. So, whatever Sven Schirmer is, and Sven Schirmer is certainly throwing the car across the curbs. I believe that Shibata is a little bit tidier. However, the speed between the two of them is absolutely identical, and therefore Shibata is not able to make any gain on Sven Schirmer. It feels like Sven is managing that gap, but what of course he's not doing is being able to get on terms with Boris Gideon, who's now 2.8 seconds up the road in the lead of the race. We're told that there will be no further action after the start has been investigated, and you can see that for yourselves as it's confirmed from race control on screen.
Yeah, very different lines here
Very.
through the Parabolica, and Schirmer initially had more momentum, but will that allow Shibata to get closer? It looks
He's
like
very
it. And
close.
Schirmer is now trying and taking a defensive pose. And I think he has to stop weaving at some point, because once you've identified where you defend, you have to stay on that side. You can't go left, right, and I think it was just okay from my point of view. Sven Schirmer stays in P2 as Alois Meyer indeed has just put in the fastest lap, as we can see from the graphics. So definitely okay. Pity that he was nerved out in that instance, but that's racing.
But sometimes, Nico, do you not agree with me that when a driver feels that he's been wronged, you know, actually that kind of temper makes you go even quicker?
Yeah, definitely. And Germano Toniella, really, really good progress. Has overtaken 3 cars in the span of 2 laps or so. Has come up from much further back. And
Friedrich Müller having a go as well now.
Yeah, on Lisa Clark on the inside. And that's into the Parabolica, if I'm not misled.
I think you're right. And trying to hug that inside line. However, not been successful thus far. So the Autohaus Ulrich driver, Boris Gideon, is leading the race by 2.113 seconds. Actually, Sven Schirmer has pulled a little bit of that gap back. Not a demonstrable amount, but still an amount. Louis Bruskia and Lisa Clark running P13 and 14. And under braking, Germano Toniella there. You can see the car approaching Alvaro Ramos. Here's Paolo Scudieri then on Alexei Komarov. This is the battle that's going on for P5. Paolo Scudieri and Alexei Komarov then. Run the information on the graphics for you as well. You can see what speed they're doing, what gear they're using. And now surely Paolo Scudieri is going to have a go going into the chicane. First he looks inside, then he looks to the outside. Alexei Komarov placing the car exactly where he needs to, which was kind of in the middle of the circuit on the approach to the Variante to Rettifio. And, well, Alexei doing a good job there. Paolo is going to have Guy Favre for company as well, as Germano Toniella continues her quest of going forward by getting by Alvaro Ramos. So there's lots going on wherever you look in this race. Oftentimes the big race, and here's how Germano did it. Dive to the inside on the approach to the Parabolica. Good racing room was left by Alvaro Ramos. Germana Toniela went through. And here she is once again, having improved her position in the race into the top 11 now. Great driving, Germana.
Yeah, absolutely, and she really has taken a book out of the Alois Meyer page out of the Alois Meyer book, who's moved up in front of her. Now he is about 6 seconds off Hassan Debussy. I'm not sure if he will make up that gap, but I wouldn't bet against it. In the meantime, you said it earlier, Sven Schirmer has kept the gap to Boris Gideon stable at least, but nothing more really. So, as we have roughly 13 minutes of this race done, Paolo Scudieri against Alexei Komarov, and this is really close. Now, long way around the outside. Oh, and I think he would brake too late into that, and he might lose a position as a result.
Well, that's interesting because Alexei Komarov, I'm just hearing from race control, is going to get penalised from the first lap incident going into the chicane where he gained an advantage, and therefore Alexei Komarov is going to probably drop back if that investigation proves to be conclusive. But that's what we're hearing from race control, that they are looking into that. So at the moment, Alexei Komarov on track is P5. Yeah. Whether it stays that way remains to be seen.
Shibata, meanwhile, has picked up 2 track limit warnings over the last lap and a half. So that is something. Oh, as we go to the battle, and I think Lisa Clark just outbraked herself.
Yes.
And you can see there is an escape route, which is great. Well, actually, you're supposed to stay straight and not go over the grass, but...
What the heck?
What the heck, yeah. I mean, I know where I'm going. And I think there is a 5-second time penalty for what you just described.
Yes, you're not seeing that on screen, but you will in a moment. Basically, the race control feed to us is telling us that Alexei Komarov is going to get a 5-second time penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage on lap 1. So, that means that actually Guy Favre hasn't got to fight Alexei too hard, although he has got to because he needs to get up the road. And here comes Paolo Scudieri again from a long way back. And Paolo Scudieri then and Guy Favre, they are having a real battle here for the P6 place. There is confirmation of that time penalty that I was mentioning for the very car that you can see center screen right now, which is the Alexei Komarov car. So that's going to drop him probably down to P11, P12, I would think, when that time is applied, if everything stayed the way it is at the moment.
Yeah, we will see. He's roughly in the range of Hassan Debussy, who's running P9, but lots can change between now and the end of the race. Obviously, for Alexei, a safety car bunching everybody up would be extra disaster.
Yes.
But okay, he's going to do the best he can. He's going to put his head down, and I think at the end of the day he'll consider himself fortunate that the 5 seconds all he was penalized with, and avoided a collision when he was on the grass. That would have been way more devastating.
So there you can see confirmation of that 5-second penalty against the Alexei Komarov graphic on the left-hand side of your screen. There's our race leader, Boris Gideon. There's our P2 driver, Sven Schirmer. And all of a sudden, Shibata is under pressure from Henrik Kamstrup. Now, both of those drivers have got 2 track limits warnings. So neither can afford to make a mistake in terms of exceeding the track limits again, because if they did, they would pick up a time penalty. It's almost guaranteed. So the overtake has got to come, and it's got to come clean. It's got to come clean within the white lines. So where can Henrik Kamstrup make it work without leaving himself vulnerable to a potential track limits issue? If it was me, if I was to take a page out of the Eric Chung playbook, another Ferrari Challenge racer, I'd be doing everything I can to encourage Shibata into leaving the track and gaining a time penalty, but I'm not. So, just saying. Right, Guy Favre and Paolo Scudieri continue their little battle here as Guy gets right on the gearbox of the Paolo Scudieri car now. Paolo immediately to the inside to try and protect initially. But here comes Guy Favre, first inside, then taking a look at the outside. Who's going to be king of the late breakers here? Alexei Komarov holds it all together with the pressure of the 2 drivers behind him, and actually through the chicane, all clean and tidy. But that fight for P5, which actually will become the fight for P4, continues.
And we keep an eye on this all the time. Obviously, we also have an eye on things going on, but this is certainly the point on the track where it's very, very likely that something will happen. Remember, Alexei Komarov, he has that penalty, but he's not going to yield just because of that. And that puts Ford and Scudieri into that fighting position where they really are compromised in terms of where they can go on the track, certainly in case of Paolo Scudieri. And he would love to have that Alexei Komarov car be between himself and Guy Ford. And there's also Pino Frascaro, who's quietly, stealthily going behind them and ready to pick up any pieces that might come loose.
There is Pino. Great, I love that speed camera. Well, Alexei Komarov holding it all together under immense pressure from these two that are chasing behind, and it's not going to be many moments before Pino Frascaro is right on them. So it's going to become a three-way fight. There you can see Paolo Scudieri. Now the big beneficiary here could be Guy Favre. Is he going to dive to the inside? I don't think he was quite close enough to be able to do that if he could have done that. But now Paolo Scudieri with the inside line puts himself almost alongside Alexei Komarov. Komarov now closes the door, and going into the chicane, it's going to be closer than ever before, and Pino Frascaro wants to join this party as well. So Alexei Komarov protects the inside line into the chicane, tries to scrub off the speed, and manages to do so, gets the car rotated. Pino Frascaro now is right on the back of Guy Favre. Head towards the Curva Grande they go. Alexei Komarov vulnerable now. Paolo Scudieri senses that the opportunity is there. He's just got to place the car in the right place. He does so then. Alexei Komarov tries to turn in, but the gap he wants to turn into was full of Paolo Scudieri. And Paolo Scudieri has done it, and here comes Guy Favre looking at the inside. Pino Frascaro's ready to have a go as well. Now Favre goes through, and very, very unlucky. Komarov into the gravel. He does hold it together and gets the car back out onto the tarmac again, and all of a sudden, three cars have gone by.
Yeah, that's where you can really tell the pressure told at the end of the day. And once Alexei Komarov was out of his rhythm, you could see him struggle a little bit. Now, for him, it's now important to regroup and just get himself back together, get into the rhythm of the lap and the car, and just put his head down and continue his race. Obviously, the penalty will hurt, but the best he can do is just follow the drivers in front of him, and maybe something will happen that will be a break in his advantage. For the moment, behind him is Hassan Debussy, who's slowly coming closer as well. And there is a replay of that incident.
Paolo had to be utterly committed to that. And I want to say fair play to Alexei Komarov, who allowed racing room. It would have been very easy to close the door there, but he didn't do that, nor did he do it there. And in fairness, then, that was when he ran wide onto the gravel. So very, very good driving from Alexei Komarov, where he could have caused a problem. He certainly didn't do that.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see in the background Hassan Debussy has closed in on Komarov, but now for the other drivers in front of him, Guy Favre will obviously fancy his chances of maybe doing the same to Paolo Scudieri and gain 2 positions in the matter of maybe a lap. Boris Gideon, that gap on the lead, it has been going up and down every time it came down to less than 1.5 seconds. It stretched again. Now we're down to 1.2. So let's see where it goes from here.
I can't help but feel the seesawing effect of that time that you so articulated is Boris playing and just doing what he needs to do to kind of maintain a mean average of time, whereas Sven Schirmer is throwing absolutely everything at it in terms of maintaining his increase and decrease in the gap between P1 and P2. Of course, it's all very well being as quick or even quicker than the car in front of you. You've got to find a way by as well, and that would be tricky. I suspect Henrik Kamstrup, who has been behind the Narakatsu Shibata car, and dare I say it, I think both of these drivers are very much aware of the fact and have been told that, look, you got away with it twice in terms of track limits, you're not going to get away with it again. It's the first event of the season. Think about the points haul. Don't go and ruin it by pushing too hard. You're so evenly matched on track. It's always difficult to tell a racing driver that, because actually the car in front of him is nothing other than a target.
Yeah, of course. But then again, especially in Henrik Hamstrup's case, maybe he will just be advised to wait until it's maybe 4 or 5 minutes left and then go again, because that just means the opportunities of exceeding the track limits are less. And you can have a go, and if you make it stick, then there is very little chance for Shibata to come back at you. Just saying, maybe a strategy. And in the case of Boris Gideon, we heard it last year very eloquently from Philip Barron, who said, you know, when you're in the lead, it's kind of doesn't do you too good to stretch too much of a lead, because in the day and age of safety cars, if you overstress your tires and then the safety car is in, great that you have 8 seconds of an advantage, counts for naught. So better preserve, better have a reasonable margin, not be in striking distance is all you need.
It's fair point and well explained. I thank you for that.
It was all Philip Barron, actually.
Yes, but you communicated it. So there is Henrik Hamstrup running in P4. Of course, he would love to be on the podium. Again, today, he's on the podium in P2 yesterday. He is 1 place away from being back on the podium today. Race leader goes through. There's Sven Schirmer, P2. There's P3. There is P4. Then there's a bit of a gap before we get to Paolo Scudieri, Guy Favret, and Pino Frascaro. What have we got? 6 3/4 minutes remaining, plus 1 lap here. We're live from Monza for Coppa Am Race 2 of the weekend. As we see our race leader and P2, 3 and 4 once again head up towards the chicane, the first chicane here at Monza. And Guy Favret has not given up on this by any means. P5 with Paolo Scudieri. Guy Favret now doing everything he can to get even closer to Paolo Scudieri. This ain't done yet. As you can see, the interval between the two drivers, Guy is quicker. Boris Gideon now setting the fastest lap with a 1:46.419. Kind of adding to what you suggested, Nico.
Controlling the gap, masterclass.
That's irritating, isn't it, when you're right?
Yeah, I don't know how that is. Happens not often enough.
Oh, I disagree.
Guy Favret is trying to be right about getting the right line and the right approach of getting on terms and past Paolo Scudieri. And obviously Paolo Scudieri has very different plans. I mean, he's 8 seconds behind Henrik Hamstrup, so unless something dramatic happens, P5 is the best that he can hope for. But he certainly wants that P5 and nothing less.
Part of the rationale for Guy in terms of keeping with Paolo Scudieri is, of course, keeping Pino Frascaro at bay as well, because Pino running on in P7 is not so far behind that he couldn't take advantage. So lots of strategies at play here as we reach the final 5 minutes of this race, plus 1 lap. The race being led by Boris Gideon with Sven Schirmer P2, and great driving from Norakatsu Shibata, who's steadfast in that P3 position.
Absolutely. A little bit earlier we speculated if Alois Meyer might make it at some point all the way, get on terms with Hassan Debussy. He's now less than half a second away, which was 6.5 seconds, so just proving that he certainly has the pace, and it was just this early race incident that dropped him down the order, so expect him to potentially get back into the top 9 within the next 4.5 minutes plus a lap.
Boris Gideon really stretching his legs now and increasing that margin with just 4 minutes left to run. You can see it's palpable, the gap between himself and Sven Schirmer now. Ahead of Shibata and Kamstrup, and Paolo Scudieri is feeling the pressure of Guy Favret. So this is the fight that is going on for P5. I told you that Pino Frascaro may play a part in this as well, and he's right there with them. Paolo running just a bit wide. He's feeling the pressure of Guy Favret right behind. And Pino is metaphorically rubbing his hands, saying, come on, you two fight, and I'll just slip through. Not sure it's going to be that easy, but every chicane offers an opportunity. Guy, very late, dives to the inside, then dives out of it. We've got a yellow flag at turn 7, which indicates something has happened.
Yeah, that's around the less more turns potentially. So let's see what happens there. We've got a safety car with 3 minutes 15 seconds. I think that locks in the current results.
I think you're right. I think you're right. And I'll tell you what, is it Hassan Tabusi that may have found the gravel, which is what brought out the yellows?
And it looks like there is something of the wing missing at the end of that 296, and there is something in the grass.
I think it's the Hassan Tabusi car, Nico.
Yeah, maybe there was a little bit of contact. Certainly looked like the rear wing was missing on that 296 challenge car, but I'm sure we will get a replay on that. But yeah, I think with 2 minutes 40 seconds, I mean, in fairness, where Hassan Tabusi placed the car, it's not in any danger, so maybe it's going to be a very short one. But
Yeah, no. Found the gravel.
yeah,
And then, yes, you were right, dislodged the rear wing. So I think you're right, with 2.5 minutes plus a lap.
It might be the +1 lap, might be a last dash, but you know, race control has to take everything into account, and we will find out. It's always difficult to throw another restart into this with 1 lap remaining. Restarts, as you've often said correctly, breed safety cars, and a restart is always a danger potentially, and I don't know if race control will go at that hell bend. So they will make the right decision. We will wait. We've got around 1 minute remaining until we know whether we will get going again.
The barrier was, I mean, it's not a metal barrier. The tyre barrier and the material in front of it has got to be reshaped. It's not going to be the work of a moment, though, Nico, and that's what makes me think that I reckon this race will finish behind the safety car.
Yeah, it's a good point, and very likely, but
we don't know.
No, we don't know, and we will find out together with you as Boris Gideon leads the other cars around, or the safety car is coming in.
Well,
this lap.
I'll go to the foot of the stairs. I would have never, ever predicted that. With the Ferrari Challenge, always expect the unexpected. And, wow, Boris Gideon is going to feel very vulnerable now. So, too, may I say, is Paolo Scudieri. An awful lot could happen in the final. And it is going to be a 1 lap dash for cash, isn't it, Nico?
It is going to be a one. We've got 35 seconds before the clock hits quadruple zeros. They won't have hit the timing line by then, I don't think, because generally the last sector takes around 40 seconds. And we're only 25 seconds away. So I think that will be that +1 lap that we will see. Alois Meyer, he has benefited certainly because he's right behind Alexei Komarov, who has the penalty still to come. So he will hope that he can improve a few more positions.
Look at this, the tension. Do you imagine what it's like for a driver? Imagine what it's like for Norikatsu Shibata's team and family.
Without exception, I think there's lots of high tension in the pit lane, inside the cockpits. We will get the drama, a 1 lap dash for glory.
Right, hold on to your hats or anything that might be loose fitting as Boris Gideon has gone. Everyone else goes. Going into the chicane. Thankfully, the cars are. Boris Gideon did a good job there. He's gapped nicely, and most have as well. Let's see as the cars head up towards the chicane. On this, the final lap of the Coppa Shell Am race. No one is quite close enough. Pino Frascaro certainly carried a lot of speed. So too did Alexei Komarov. But thankfully all cars through the chicane, all okay. There's Henrik Kamstrup, there's Paolo Scudieri, there's Guy Favre.
And that was Peter Frascaro's 4th track limit infraction. That will bear a 5-second penalty.
Oh no!
That is just what we didn't want for any of our drivers, but it has happened. It was the only one at 3, and he gets the 4th one in this occasion. That's just a pity. That's so much of a pity for Pino Frascaro, and yeah, there is. We can see it on our timing screen.
Yes.
Penalty comes quickly.
Pino's going to get that 5-second time penalty as you predicted, Nico, and there is confirmation on your screen. The front end of the car of Boris Gideon compresses under braking as he goes through for the last time the Ascari chicane. He will accelerate now towards the Parabolica. For my money, he got that restart nailed absolutely perfectly, Nico. And he needed to do that because Sven Schirmer was coming calling. In strife, potentially, we could see Guy Favre, presumably as Pino Frascaro right behind. That would be almost academic because of the time penalty that Pino's got. Boris Gideon, what a weekend he's had here at Monza as he makes it 2 out of 2. Followed by Sven Schirmer, Norikatsu Shibata, Henrik Kamstrup. Then it is Guy Favre, Paolo Scudieri, Pino Frascaro, of course, dropping down the order. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen by dint of the time penalty, which is also the penalty of that is really, really heightened by virtue of the very late safety car. But then he probably wouldn't have had the penalty were it not for the safety car. So, you know, who knows?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
But there we have it. Guy Favre did get Paolo Scudieri. Obviously, we were watching Boris Gideon head towards the checkered flag. But wow, what a race! With plenty thrown in for good measure. There is Paolo Scudieri, who will feel. Here we go. This is where Guy Favre did it. It was on the approach to the chicane. Dived to the inside, was able to get the car rotated, and past Paolo Scudieri he went. Thank you for that replay. Just reinforcing everything that happened there in that race, and a lot did happen. I would have never said that we're going to get another lap of race action in, but credit to everyone that made it happen. Great respect between Paolo Scudieri and Guy for then as they go side by side. Here's confirmation of the result then. Boris Gideon taking the win from Sven Schirmer and Norikatsu. Shibata takes P3. Then it was Henrik Kamstrup, Guy Favre, Paolo Scudieri, Alwa Mer and Germana Toniela takes P8. Ahead of Alvaro Ramos, Friedrich Muller, Louis Peruskia, Lisa Clark, Pino Frascaro, Alexei Komarov, Hassan Tabusi, unfortunately was out, so too Shintaro Akatsu earlier on in the race.
Yeah, great shout out to Germana Toniela, who really made all her overtakes in the first half of the race, but really did a good job there, and P8 is a great reward for that.
I agree.
I mean, Boris Gideon, what can you say? Flawless this weekend.
Yep, didn't put a foot wrong in either qualifying or indeed in the race. Converting everything that he needed to make sure that he could make it 2 out of 2 this weekend. Great job done. Cars making their way into the pit lane then, and of course top 3 will park up. But thanks to all the drivers because they delivered some great entertainment for us. That's for sure. You got to feel, Nico, for Pino Frascaro. I mean, that was so unfortunate.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate last lap, and it was exactly the one driver who couldn't afford to do that. But yeah, you know, it's racing, and well, on the other end of the spectrum, Boris Gideon. And there his coach offers congratulations. The outer house Ulrich driver. Well, he's the one that has had to pedal the car, Nico, but most of our drivers in the Ferrari Challenge do have their driver coaches, and Kevin Chechon then, who looks after Boris Gideon, done a good job with him. Max Blancardi is pretty happy with Sven Schirmer, and Sven looks pretty happy with what he has done.
Down to 1. It was good. And I shit in my pants, huh?
Forgive the colourful language from Mr. Gideon. And there, Norikatsu Shibata is congratulated, and well, we could see the tension inside the garage. I think there might be a tear there, Nico. Oh, that's wonderful to see. Absolutely wonderful. Well done to the Corners Osaka team. Apologies for Boris Gideon, Sven Schirmer, and Norikatsu Shibata the top.
As Dave assembles himself, a very metaphorical speech there. And we will have a look at the cars which propelled, or the car which propelled our race winner to his victory. And in just a few moments' time, we will get another statement from him. It will be more PC, I think, and I hope. And Ludovica will make sure that that's the case. Well, some levity at the end of this program. Very nice. Boris Gideon, great driving, great entertainer, and Ludovica, take over.
Boris, congratulations, 2 pole position and 2 wins in a row here in the first round of this season. Can you tell us more about your weekend and your feeling with your car and the work that you have built and with your coach?
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Ludo. Very nice to see you again. I'm very happy always to see you. It was a fantastic weekend. We had all kinds of conditions. We had red light, we had safety car. This last race was quite long for me. It felt very, very long. So I'm very happy to be on number 1 again. Super, super happy, and what a great start into the season. Thank you so much.
And the last question, how do you think to celebrate this night for this weekend?
It's crazy. I will have 2 flights going back to Germany. I will be there just before midnight. I will see my wife. Hello to Kel. And then tomorrow at 5 o'clock I will be picked up and I fly back to Italy. So sometimes can go like that, but I'm so happy and celebrate at home. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Congratulations again.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Well done, Boris, and safe flights, friend. Well done indeed. Here are the highlights then of Coppa Am Race 2. Sven Schirmer and Boris Gideon then with something of a drag race towards turn number 1, but Boris Gideon making no mistake and securing that race lead from pole position. A number of drivers taking slightly different routes through turn number 1, and that was very unfortunate as Shintaro Akatsu made contact there. That would be the end of his race. Plenty going on elsewhere, and Lisa Clark coming under some pressure from Friedrich Muller, and Paolo Scudieri and Guy Favre were having a fantastic tussle further down the order. In the end, it would be Guy Favre who would just get ahead of Paolo Scudieri at that point, and then Paolo Scudieri very determinedly made his way past the car of Alexei Komarov. Then too, so did Guy Ford and Pino Frascaro joining that battle as well. Hassan Tabusi got into the gravel, made contact with the barriers. That brought out the safety car, which would give us a last lap dash for cash for the end of the race. And Guy Favre going through on Paolo Scudieri to secure the P5 place. But Boris Gideon in the Coppa Am Racing was able to make it 2 out of 2 this weekend for the Outer House Ulrich driver. Brilliant driving, his coach and his team celebrating. And there you can see his coach giving him the final congratulations on another win. So there are the highlights. Of course, we'll be heading up to the podium shortly to see the top 3 drivers from that Coppa Am race.
Michele Mambelli will bring the drivers out onto the podium. It looks like we're not 100% ready, but it's only a few moments as we can see the podium right of our commentary booth window. And there we go, and there are the fans and the teams down in the pit lane. And here the podium obviously is right above the pit lane, a great special place and great special people supporting the drivers who have pedaled the cars. There is Norikatsu Shibata, number 2, number 1, number 3, the right step of the podium. Sven Schirmer again on the podium, great job from him. And there is Boris Gideon on the top step of the podium. Again.
Il podio anche con Auto House Ulrich, prego qui a fianco al podio e siamo pronti per l'inno nazionale.
National anthem.
Il nostro applauso, l'applauso per i vincitori, consegna i trofei. Alessio Rovera, pilota ufficiale.
Great job by our top three drivers and everybody else.
Il trofeo per il terzo classificato Norikazu Shibata. Trofeo d'onore per Sven Schomer.
Trophies being awarded by Alessio Rovera,
Per il vincitore,
Ferrari factory driver.
vincitore di gara 1 e gara 2, Boris
Knows a thing
Alessio
about it too,
Rovera.
about trophies.
Il trofeo anche per il team, per Auto House Ulrich.
And obviously the team also receiving their silverware. Nice trophies here in Monza.
And now please together on the first step of the podium. No, please be attention. Together on the first step, please. And look the camera. Look
Someone
on
jumped
your
the start
left,
on the champagne.
your left, here.
But not with Michele at the helm. Everybody grouping up for photos.
Okay, attention.
And now,
please.
now there was no stopping.
Champagne.
Boris Gideon, 2 fastest laps, 2 pole positions, 2 race wins, and I believe 2 podium champagne races also won. Perfect weekend. Norikazu Shibata, P3, his podium position today. Sven Schirmer, second on the day, and I believe also second in the championship standings. But there was no holding back of this man. Boris Gideon on the track with a champagne bottle. It's all his.
Fantastic podium, and well, in the Drivers' Championship, it's Boris Gideon on 34 points, Henrik Kamstrup. I can't believe that those championship points are completely correct necessarily, but there they are. And there you can see Alexei Komarov, Germano Toniella. Of course, Sven Schirmer finished P7 yesterday. I'm just trying to work out the points. Henrik Kamstrup P2 in the points, but no mistaking who's leading the points, and that indeed is Boris Gideon. There is Paolo Scudieri. Just discussing the race. I mean, Paolo, you gave us a fantastic, entertaining race, that's for sure. Very enjoyable for us, and a lot of people were able to enjoy that Coppa Shell Am race. Much more to come during the course of the season. The season's long and lots of points to be awarded, and lots of race winners to come over the course of this calendar. We head off from here to Misano. Then from Misano it is to Hockenheim. From Hockenheim to Brno in the Czech Republic. Then it's a double duty date in Spain as we go to Valencia and Barcelona. In September we'll be in Spa-Francorchamps, and then of course the finale Mondiale event will be in Mugello. But for the moment here at Monza for the Coppa Shell Am drivers, their racing is done and dusted. Hope you've enjoyed the races as much as we have. From Nico and myself and the Coppa Shell Am, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye for now. Hello everyone, very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Monza for our Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli Am Race 2 of our opening round here at the Temple of Speed. It's very busy down there on the grid, as you can see, as our 25 drivers in total across Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli Am get ready to contest their second 30-minute plus one-lap race here. So, Temple of Speed, as I mentioned, it is Monza. And it opens up our 2025 season of racing, which is the 33rd of the Ferrari Challenge. And the calendar is such that we go from here, drive down through Italy by 360 kilometers or so to the Adriatic coast to Misano. Then it is Hockenheim in Germany, Brno in the Czech Republic, ahead of 2 dates in Spain, one in Valencia, one in Barcelona, Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, then the finale mondiale to come at the end of October in Mugello. It's a packed calendar with one more event than last year because we like to increase the value that we afford you race fans. And here you can see the track temperature is 40 degrees, the air temperature is 22 degrees. Alongside me is Nico Spalek. It's a brilliant calendar this year. We're going to some fantastic circuits.
Absolutely, and Misano, the next round, will have evening races on the Saturday. So that is going to be a special treat. We will have a very special light for that. It's going to be almost dark by the time the last race stops, and that's going to be an interesting one. It will be treacherous and tricky for the drivers to adapt to a different rhythm, because they will have 2 qualifying sessions, morning, midday, and then the race in the evening. But for now, we focus on the race here in Monza, race 2 of the season.
Yes, it is, and the Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli Am drivers yesterday. To say the race was dramatic would be an underscore, to be honest with you, as we look at Felix Hersiger, who is going from pole position for our Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli drivers. Pole position for our Pirelli Am drivers is Michael Verhagen. Yeah, if today's race is anything like yesterday's, it's going to be a brilliant race. One to really, really look forward to. So 30 minutes plus one lap. I concur entirely with what you're saying about Misano, but we'll talk about that another day as we look at Luigi Coluccio, who's going from P2 on the grid, and the talented young driver could be a real danger man from there, that's for sure. The fans are here in full effect to enjoy the racing from Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli Am, as well as our Coppa and Coppa Am drivers that also form part of the Ferrari Challenge weekend, of course, here. And you can see all the Corsa Clienti programs on that banner above that shot. There is Max Mugelli, who's going from P9 on the grid. And I mentioned that race 1 was really dramatic and enjoyable, and here's an opportunity for you to relive exactly what happened in race 1 here at Monza. Welcome to Monza, this extraordinary circuit. Let's go racing. Dylan Medler then tries to put himself between the middle of the top 2. P3 for Dylan Medler, I think, before they even get to the chicane. Will he be able to make it into P2? Lots of squealing Pirellis then as that really tight chicane. And right now, Henri Acid has got on the back of Marco Zanazzi. This is going to be for the final podium place in Trofeo Pirelli Am. 3 cars almost welded together there. Now Yasin Ferrati defending his line. Acid will go for the inside, perhaps not quite close enough. Now will Acid dive to the inside? He is running out of time. There's going to be one more lap after this one. Here comes Henri Acid. Well, he looked, but he thought better of it to scratch on the better part of Bala. It's now or never for Henri. And Marco Zanazzi knows that. So Marco Zanazzi will adopt defense strategy 3. and want to see the winner take the checkered flag. It was Gilles Renman.
Champagne.
Oh yeah, lots of drama yesterday. I wonder if we'll get the same today. Of course we will. We have some 25 cars out there. There is Vincenzo Scarpetta, who's going from P3 on the grid. Is offered best wishes ahead of the race, as you can see with the handshakes going on there. His lap time 1:44.363 from qualifying puts him P3 on the grid. Alongside will be Gilles Renmans, who yesterday Gilles doing a fantastic job in race 1 in the number 77 car and taking the win just at the line from Björn Grossman, who was also, of course, in this race, goes from P6 on the grid. Yasin Ferrari, Nico, young whippersnapper for Emil Frey Racing, had some misfortune, I want to say, in qualifying, so he's starting further back down the order than he would like to be.
Yeah, definitely. P7 for him is not where he would have liked it to be, and he's certainly shown the pace yesterday. But it's a new championship also for him, and
Yes.
there is a little bit of a learning curve. Björn Grossman yesterday, it has to be said, had a great start. Started from P7 and was in P1 by the time he had crossed the timing line for the second time. So really, really good. So let's see what he can do, or if anybody else will be on a similar upward trajectory. Richard Mille safety car will lead them all the way, and after that, it's anybody's guess.
Yeah, it's always a rolling start in the Ferrari Challenge. Of course, we mix two classes together here. We have Trofeo Pirelli. Those drivers you can identify from the red strip across the top of the windscreen, and then we have the Pirelli AM drivers with the white strip across the top of the windscreen. That's how you can tell whether which driver was driving in which category. So, pole position for Pirelli drivers, Felix Herziger. Pole position for our AM drivers, Michael Verhagen. And we will bring you the grid in full in due course as well. All 25 of the drivers that will be contesting this 30-minute plus 1 lap race. Well, one driver that was in the 488 Challenge last year has come into Trofeo Pirelli Pro this year is Quinn Wiedlisbach.
Hey everybody, I'm Quinn Wiedlisbach. I'm 18 years old and I race for Emil Frey Racing. My passion for cars and motorsport has been at the core of my life the whole time. I mean, my first word was not mom, it was auto. In Swiss, so car, and ever since I was a little boy and I could walk, I would run after cars, and my passion is just getting stronger and stronger, and I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to race this season in the Ferrari Challenge in the Trofeo Pirelli with my amazing team, and I'm so grateful and looking forward to this super strong season. Obviously, the car is super fast on the straight. That's absolutely phenomenal. Key difference is quite it's a brake to wire, so the braking I really have to get used to it a bit more, and but that comes with time. My team and I, we're focusing on the steps to this beautiful product that comes, but we just take it step by step, and we will arrive there with great love. Love listening to music, but what I really try is to breathe, be in the present moment, and really enjoy, because at the start I'm usually too excited. I love to just be in the car and can't wait for it to start. So really to ground myself and feel calm, and then get into the car and dance.
Super young man, Quinn Wiedlisbach, who took the 488 Challenge World Championship last year, if memory serves me. Okay, Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli Am Race 2 then across this 12-turn circuit, 4 left, 8 right. Built in the Royal Villa of Monza Park, it's 5.793 kilometers. The Temple of Speed here at Monza, built, as I say, and founded in 1922. It looked somewhat different in 1922 to what it does today, but there's still lots and lots of remnants of the very old circuit. I've been and stood on the banking on a number of occasions. Just see part of it there. One of the old parabolicas could just see from our drone shot there. As promised, we'll bring you the grid in full as the cars are released then on their formation lap behind the Richard Mills safety car. So here it is then, going from P25, Armin Arif-Por, Trofeo Pirelli AM driver. Then it's Martin Havas and Gianmarco Marzialetti. They are on the 12th row of our backed grid. Hanno Laskowski and Otto Blank go from P22 and 21. Then it's NM and Rafael Duran, P20 and P19. They occupy the 10th row. On the 9th, it's Danilo Del Favero and Andreas Berg Sorensen goes from P17. Herbert Geis, Hendrik Viol, P16 and 15. It's Andrew Morrow, yesterday's race winner in Trofeo Pirelli AM, P14. And P13 alongside him, Francesco Galli, Henry Assid and Marco Zanazzi. Then Mikael Verhagen, pole position for Trofeo Pirelli AM. Max Mugelli, the first of the Pirelli drivers we see on the grid, goes from P9. Then P8, it is Quinn Wiedlisbach and Yasin Ferrati, who is further back than he would like to be. Ahead of them are Dylan Medler and Björn Grossman, Vincenzo Scarpetta and Gilles Renman, and Felix Herziger and Luigi Coluccio. So Felix Herziger then, the Ineco Reporter Casa Ram driver, pole position.
A very good qualifying session. We waited a bit to go out. We were interrupted by the red flag, but actually it was perfect to get the tire pressure right. And then we had 3-4 free laps, which were perfect. The car was set up beautifully. After yesterday's race, which just lasted one corner, it was amazing to give the team something back. And also for me, it's a very special day and the first pole position in the Ferrari Challenge. And for the race, I hope to finish as best as possible. And yeah, I wish everybody good luck and a clean race.
Well, the cars then will line up side by side in grid formation behind the Richard Mills safety car. Well done to Felix Herziger, and yeah, it's amazing, isn't it, how fortunes can change from day one to day two, Nico?
Yeah, absolutely, and especially on a track like Monza with the pinch point of that first chicane, which Luigi Coluccio really was caught out in there, receiving a nudge and found himself in the gravel. Not much he could do about it, so he hopes for more luck, so does everybody else. We hope that we will have a clean start and a clean race. 30 minutes plus a lap awaits.
Stand by then. I urge you to focus and concentrate. This is going to be good, I reckon. As the cars are out of the Parabolica then, the Richard Mills safety car is headed into the pit lane. Responsibility, Felix Herziger, Luigi Coluccio, to control the pace of the rolling start then. Every driver has to go through their grid box. And when the lights go out, we will go racing. Well, one or two drivers really anticipating the lights, and Hendrik Viol is one of those drivers that's being called out by that, I think. And a number of cars moving very, very quickly, anticipating those lights. This is the pinch point. Well, in my opinion, fewer cars made it all the way around the chicane to those that made a shortcut of that chicane. But if every car got through it, then for that I'm really, really pleased, because it was not necessarily going to be the case. Björn Grossman, one of those drivers that's pushing so hard. He's up to P3 already. It is Luigi Coluccio, I believe, as Felix Herziger, Luigi Coluccio, Björn Grossman, Gilles Renmans, Yasin Ferrati, and then Dylan Medler. That's the order we have on the left-hand side of your screen.
Yeah, Björn Grossman, once again, a great start, slicing through the pack and really, really controlled on the inside through the chicane and kept it clean. As you said, unlike some of the others, but there is, left, right, all over the grid. This can go so horribly wrong, but thus far, everybody holding it together.
So through the chicane now with the lowered curbs, which encourages you almost to take as much and perhaps a bit more, as we're told by race control that the start is under investigation. Make of that what you will. Oh, a late dive to the inside there, potentially. And there you can see confirmation on your screen that the start is under investigation. So first lap, we put it into the book then. It's It's Luigi Coluccio from Felix Herziger, Björn Grossman, Gilles Renman, Yasin Ferrati, Dylan Medler, Quinn Wiedlisbach. Now, Björn Grossman knows a thing or two about driving in the Ferrari Challenge, and he certainly, as one or two other drivers, once again, shortcut the chicane now. Race controls, I reckon, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think with the full complement of 25 cars that perhaps race control take a more lenient view of the first chicane on the first lap. I bet now they won't, and I bet now they'll look at that and think there's a track limit excursion there and an advantage has been gained, and who knows, maybe a warning will be slapped against certain drivers. We will wait and see, but Francesco Galli is the first of those to pick up a track limits warning, and that's almost for sure from that chicane, I would say, Nico.
Yeah, and Vincenzo Scarpetta and Michael Verhagen follow suit, so all three of those have gotten a 1 in the track limits column, which if it stays as a 1 is not a problem. If it gets up to a 4, that will be a problem. There is indeed an attempt, and I think that's Marco Zanazzi and Henrik Viol. And Michael Verhagen was taking a look.
This is the rearward shot from Vincenzo Scarpetta's car. Vincenzo Scarpetta has got Marco Zanazzi that you couldn't quite see from that rearward camera behind him. Francesco Galli then the best of the AM drivers, but it's Marco Zanazzi P2 in the AMs, Michael Verhagen P3 in the AMs, Henrik Viola's just got past Danilo Del Favaro, I can see. Luigi Coluccio sets the fastest lap. Who sets the fastest lap in the AMs? It's the guy that's running further down the order than he would like to. It's yesterday's race winner in the AMs, and that's Andrew Morrow. So Luigi Coluccio continues to lead from Felix Herziger and Björn Grossman. And then for the AM drivers, it's Francesco Galli ahead of Marco Zanazzi and Michael Verhagen.
Yeah, and Gilles Renman had put a little bit of pressure on Björn Grossman, but this is kind of seesawing.
Okay.
Just a half a lap earlier was Grossman and Herziger, so this is going back and forth. The first driver's already with 2 track limit warnings. That's certainly a thing to keep an eye on. And Herziger looks like he could be a little bit quicker than Coluccio at this stage of the race. But again, this is changing every few laps. And as soon as the top 2, and there is Herziger with a problem. And maybe Björn Grossman will use that opportunity to get on terms. Into Ascari is difficult, but then maybe into the Parabolica or even across the start-finish straight. But it looks like Herziger got the momentum just enough to not be too compromised.
Yeah, actually, it was a good recovery, wasn't it? As he dipped into the gravel, he was able to, as you say, maintain the momentum, which meant that any advantage that Björn Grossman may have been able to take, he wasn't able to seize. Luigi Coluccio undoubtedly having to do some defending here. I think you're right. I think Felix Herziger is faster. Grossman just showing his face to the inside of Herziger. Herziger, of course, Nico, he's in this really difficult situation where he's got to try and attack. But what he doesn't want to do is leave himself vulnerable to Björn Grossman, who, let's be honest, would not need an invitation in the post to try and come by and take that P2 and try and take the race to Luigi Coluccio. Here comes Grossman, then taking a look at the inside. He's not quick enough. What he's trying to do is unsettle him. Meantime, Michael Verhagen. So the number 90 car. Oh, Vincenzo Scarpetta we could see there. And Francesco Galli and Quinn Wiedlisbach all involved in a battle which is really enjoyable for us to watch. Luigi Coluccio, for my money, Nico, is pretty controlled here, and he's absorbing the pressure. But now, Herziger gets a better exit, and Herziger gets closer to Luigi Coluccio. Let's get a replay of the start. And start under investigation. Well, you could see a couple of cars that were running really, really close to the wall there, Nico.
Yeah, a little bit of a squeeze, and I think Verhagen was involved in that. And there you can see on the inside was Grossman. There were lots of cars going left, right, center, everywhere but the track. And there on the outside, I think that was the Scarpetta car, which had to run through the gravel as a result. And I think we will be on board with him as he goes very, very much to the outside. And Yeah, now we have a yellow flag at turn 6 we bring live to you as we watch a few more of the replays. It's such a pinch point and you really have to be physical through there. And we have a safety car actually. Safety car has been called for.
Okay, so whatever the reason for the yellow flag.
That's Verhagen, I think. Left, right, left.
So I think it's Rafael Duran, the number 27 car, which has brought out the safety car. So safety car comes out, that will bunch everyone back together again. And sure enough, here you can see Rafael Duran has managed to get the car going and is out of harm's way. Now, this is where it's always difficult for race control, Nico, because you call for a safety car and then the car gets going again. But with 22.5 minutes plus a lap remaining in this race, Luigi Coluccio from Felix Herziger and Björn Grossman. Yassin Ferrati up to P4, ahead of Gilles Redman, and then it's Dylan Medler. Best of the AM drivers, Francesco Galli ahead of Marco Zanazzi and Michael Verhagen. Look at the progress chart on the left-hand side of your screen. Francesco Galli up 6 places. Hendrik Viol also making good progress too, and Björn Grossman up 3, as indeed is Yassin Ferrati. So, lots of progress having been made for a number of drivers. Henri Acide, incidentally, is P5 in Pirelli AMS. Now, Henri Acide was one of those drivers that had to take the long way around the first chicane. So, Henri Acide, don't rule him out of a potential podium at the end of this race. However, safety car is out, clock continues to count down. It's not going to be a long safety car because we can see that the Rafael Duran car has got itself to safety. In fact, just below our studio here, we can see it in the pit lane. So safety car coming in at the conclusion of this lap. Luigi Coluccio then is going to try and stack them and back them all up. And it will be down to Felix Herziger and Björn Grossman to try and ascertain when he's going to give it 100% on the accelerator. And once Luigi Coluccio does accelerate, he has to stay accelerated. But the anticipation of when he's going to go is what the likes of Felix Herziger has got to try and guess. So here we go. Safety car coming back in. Let's go back to racing. It was a very short intervention. And the race gets going all over again. Of course, all the gaps that had been created, which weren't that many, to be honest, because we're still in the very early stages of the race, but nonetheless, all the cars bunched up together again, and they will feel that, some drivers will feel this is a great opportunity to make hay while the sun is potentially shining for them. From the safety car lap, Hendrik Viol might be one that will try and take advantage. Henri Acide, definitely so. Okay, so Luigi Coluccio has gone. Good anticipation from Felix Herziger, who follows suit pretty quickly. They both leave Björn Grossman a little bit in their wake. And we go back to racing once again. So into turn 1. Now, thankfully, all the cars, safety car means all in one line, which means it's a little bit easier, as some cars do have to take a shortcut through that chicane. But Luigi Coluccio and Felix Herziger, P1 and P2, they're breaking away a little bit from Björn Grossman. Björn, though, will get his tyres back up to temperature again, and I'm sure will live to fight some more. Yassin Ferrati is right on his trumpet, running in P4 and getting the car sideways a little bit now. He had a lowly qualifying position because of an off during qualifying earlier on today. So Yassin Ferrati running in P4 ahead of Gilles Redman. Good result so far, and you just feel that it's not all over yet. There's a lot of racing still to come. Very nearly 19 minutes plus a lap of Ferrari Challenge, Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli AM. We're live from Monza. It's Francesco Galli leading the AMS race. It's Luigi Coluccio leading the Pirelli race.
Yeah, and we now have drive-through penalties for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars, including the number 45, which is Luigi Coluccio, the number 77, 26, 22, 3, and 67. I mean, that is a lot of drivers, and that includes our race leader. It includes Gilles Redman. I have to sort through all of them. Who is involved in that? Henri Hassid is another one. It's Max Mugelli is part of the list. It's a laundry list almost. And I didn't want to say it. I had the feeling that the outside behind Colucci was a little bit too far to the inside and not running through the grid boxes. And I think that may have been part of that. Certainly race control looked at that, and the drive-through penalty is a tough one. That royally ruins your race, especially if everybody's bunched up like it is. But that means Felix Herziger is effectively our provisional race leader.
Yes, Felix Herziger is not one of those drivers that has been impacted by that drive-through penalty. Well, he has been impacted by it, but he's been impacted by it in a very positive way, because Luigi Colucci definitely has got to come in and serve that drive-through penalty. Now, when you have been given a drive-through penalty, you've got to take it within 3 laps of it being advised to you.
Yeah, and Björn Grossman, number 26, is one of the drivers I didn't mention. He's also affected, and that means obviously Felix Herziger will effectively be somewhat on his own up there. I mean, huge drama in this race.
Yeah, Yasin Ferrati, another one that's going to take big advantage from this.
Yeah, now the numbers. The numbers have changed a little bit. It's only down to 4 cars, but it still includes Luigi Colucci and Björn Grossman.
Bear in mind that this might be incorrect starting alignment from the original race start, I'm being told.
Yes. I believe so, sorry.
Don't be, but you're right. I mean, it is part of the rules, isn't it? You've got to drive through your grid boxes. It's made clear to the drivers. They have driver briefings. So Luigi Colucci then, and you can see that Björn Grossman is still fighting out there, but he has got a drive-through penalty.
Luigi pulls to the side. I think he's taking it now. I think Björn, as you can see, stays out there and is still chasing Felix Herziger. I mean, for him, it's obviously he will probably try and stay out as long as he can to build more of a gap, because it would maybe, when he comes out after his penalty, drop him behind fewer cars.
Yes.
Just theoretically, as long as he's got a fairly empty run in front of him.
So you can see that Gilles Redman and Luigi Colucci are both choosing to come in and serve their drive-through penalty at the same time. Marco Zanassi has been in as well. So the face of this race is changing dramatically, with Felix Herziger now leading. Now, Björn Grossman has got a penalty to take, so it's Yasin Ferrati that would be elevated to P2. Dylan Medler, P3. So, and then for the AM drivers, it is Francesco Galli, Michael Verhagen, Hendrik Viol, the top 3. Insofar as I think, I'm writing furiously here in terms of the... Marco Zanassi is in strife in the pit lane. So the number 69 car, there you can see, parked up in the pit lane as Björn Grossman is absolutely not giving any quarter away here, is he? I think you're right, Nico. What he's trying to do is just get ahead of Felix Herziger to build as much of a gap as he can. By my reckoning, he's only got the remainder of this lap plus one more lap before he's got to take his drive-through penalty.
Yeah, absolutely. But he was just a little bit behind Colucci, so if he can gain that on the track, he might come out ahead of Colucci, but it's difficult to gauge that. But he will certainly try and do his ultimate best to gain as much of a gap, but I think he's coming in here.
Yeah, I think he is. So, we now have the correct order in terms of Trofeo Pirelli. In that, it is Felix Herziger from Yasin Ferrati and Dylan Medler. So there is Björn Grossman then serving his drive-through penalty. And I think Henri Hassid choosing to come in at exactly the same time as well. He, another driver that picks up a drive-through penalty. He, of course, though, is a Pirelli AM driver, so that plays into the hands of Francesco Galli, Michael Verhagen and Hendrik Viol, and potentially also Herbert Geis. So the gap between Herziger and Ferrati is just 0.3. Now, if you're Yasin Ferrati and you had an off during qualifying and you didn't qualify as well as you had hoped, and the team had to do some work to put the car back together again, wasn't hugely damaged, but it did have a little bit of damage, to deliver a race win for the team of Emil Frey Racing. They'd love to do that. Yasin would love to do that.
Absolutely, an all-Swiss battle for the lead here in the Pirelli class. Felix Herziger against Yasin Ferrati. Still 13.5 minutes plus a lap remaining. I'm trying to look who came out where at the end of the drive-through penalties. And we will tell you at the end of this lap when we have the order fully restored.
Yes.
Because obviously the Pirelli drivers will be scored in their sequence, irrespective of how many M drivers are in front of them. So it does make a difference in terms of P5, 6, 7 and 8. But obviously we focus on our leaders.
So here, Yacine Ferrati then, driving for the Emil Frey Racing Organisation. Felix Herziger, Ferrari, Nico Reparto, Corsa Ram. And another lap put in the book, and Felix Herziger then, the live gap is half a second between P1 and P2. Then there is a bit more of a gap of a couple of seconds before we see Dylan Medler, who's running in P3, the young driver that races not only here in Europe but in North America as well. So there you can see the gap between P1 and P2, and over the last 3 laps, how it has seesawed a little bit. Now, our race leader in Trofeo Pirelli Am, car number 31, which is Francesco Galli. I'm being told is under investigation, maybe taking an advantage of leaving the track at turn 1, first lap.
Yeah, you said that initially. It was something that race control will be lenient in the first instance, but if it's
a big advantage,
latent, they will still judge. Björn Grossman did a good job, and he has edged Luigi Colucci for that. He's only P5 in class, but it is a position in class, so staying
P5
out
is better than P6, isn't
absolutely, and staying out longer certainly benefited Björn in that regard. Just another example how the team and his experience have paid off.
Yeah, you're right. Yacine Ferrati then chasing very hard and pushing very hard. You can see as he just picked up a bit of gravel in so doing. That, of course, means that his momentum in trying to get closer to Felix Herziger perhaps is quite paying off yet. There is Francesco Galli then, the car that's under investigation for potentially gaining an advantage at turn 1 on the first lap. That will be investigated by race control, and we'll bring you the result just as soon as we know it. Herziger, Ferrati, Medler, P123 for Trofeo Pirelli. I remind you, the Pirelli drivers have a red strip across the top of the windscreen. The AM drivers, like Francesco Galli, this car here, have a white strip across the top of the windscreen. Michael Verhagen, Hendrik Viol are P2 and P3 for the AM drivers. So once again, the Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli Am race is a race that has been full of dramatic entertainment. Here is Björn Grossman, who did exactly as Nico suggested by staying out longer, was able to get past Luigi Coluccio and therefore gain a place. I am hearing that a 10-second time penalty will be given to car number 31, which is Francesco Galli, which would mean that Michael Verhagen would be elevated up to the lead of the AMS race with Hendrik Viol and Herbert Geiss, P2 and P3. If everything were to finish the way it is right now, you will see confirmation of that on your screen very soon. So just when you think all the drama is over, yet more is thrown into the really rather burgeoning melting pot of Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli Am action, Nico.
Yeah, absolutely. There you can see that group of Pirelli drivers with Grossman, Coluccio and Renmans, who would feel that they should be much further up the order, but you know, rules are rules, penalties are penalties, and they have to battle it now for P17, 18 and 19 on the track. And but still points to be awarded.
There is the race control message on screen for you, car number 31, that time penalty. And you can see that with the bars alongside the Francesco Galli car number 31. So that elevates Michael Verhagen into the lead with Hendrik Viol P2. So this car is effectively your race leader in Trofeo Pirelli Am. Michael Verhagen, how far away is he from Hendrik Viol? What is the gap between those two? That 3 seconds. If my calculations are correct. There is Hendrik Viol, and there indeed is Michael Verhagen. We're seeing another penalty now, and this is going to be for Andreas Berg Sorensen.
Yeah, he got his 4th track limit infraction, and that means he's on the wrong side of the limit, which means he gets a 5-second penalty. He's running P8 in class. That will drop him down the order. There is center shot is the Henrik Viol car, and
it's one of the most distinctive coloured Ferrari 296 Challenge cars. Drivers take great pride in how their cars look, because if you've got the canvas of a 296 Challenge car, and well, Hendrik really, and the Scuderia Prague team, that car is a work of art, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely. And Herbert Geis is running behind him, so this is, even though 3rd and 4th on the track, they're actually P2 and P3 virtually, by dint of that penalty in front of them.
Dare I say it, Herbert's colour scheme is a little muted this year in comparison to previous year.
Yeah, that's fair, but works well.
Yep, it does. Looks great. And I'll tell you what, Herbert has got a turn of speed, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Really quick here in Monza.
Really coming good. He, of course, is coached by Harald Procek. Hendrik Viol goes to defend the inside line. And Herbert taking a look at the outside, but they're both very fair drivers, and they're having a nice battle between themselves, which is really good to see. Of course, what this does mean that he, by he, I mean Hendrik Viol, is not able to get as close to Nico Verhagen as he would like to, and narrow that gap a little bit, and perhaps have something of a battle for the lead. Christmas, we've only got 6 3/4 minutes plus a lap remaining. Where's this race gone?
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of drama there, both with penalties as well as action on the track. And Henrik Viol was one of the steady drivers last year, was really competitive all the way until the end, didn't quite make it happen to win the championship, but finished P2 in class and got close, got really close. And Herbert Geis, he's really turned up the speed on his racecraft this season thus far in Monza, showing really good pace.
I agree with you, and he is really chasing Herbert now, really chasing Hendrik. There's Hendrik Viol, there's Herbert Geis. So the number 92 car with a white strip across the top of the windscreen is the driver that is P2, effectively, in the Trofeo Pirelli AM class. Felix Herziger has got around about 2.5 seconds over Yasin Ferrati for the Trofeo Pirelli lead. And we have, as near as makes no difference, 5.5 minutes plus 1 lap remaining of this Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli AM race. We're live from Monza. Ferrari Challenge opening round of the 2025 calendar here at the Temple of Speed. There, as we follow those cars through the first chicane, Herbert Geis dropped back a little bit now from Hendrik Viol. I think he's will have another go. It's just ready to spot and perhaps consider a one last attempt at maybe so doing. The number 30 car driven by Felix Herziger, engineered by Eneko Roberto Corsa Ram, leading by 3 seconds now over Yasin Ferrati, the Emil Ferrari racing driver, and it's Dylan Medler from the collection Ferrari of Miami that he's running P3. Best lap 1:44.425. And there you can see the top three, because of the length of the back straight here. The top three in picture there. The car sounds and looks absolutely wonderful. Felix Herziger extending his lead still a bit further potentially as they cross the timing line. We'll get a live gap for you. It was 3.358. It's now 3.630.
Yeah, we should have 4 more laps remaining by my reckoning, because they will cross the timing line 3 more times until the clock has hit 0, so then it's that extra lap. So we will see who can do something with this remaining time on the clock. Herbert Guys half a second behind Hendrik Viol. He's one in striking distance. Andrew Morrow is close to Daniel de Favreau. So this is effectively for P4 in class.
Let's go on board with Andrew Morrow and run the telemetry as well as in 5th gear now, approaching 220 kilometers per hour. Up into 6th gear now. Full chat flat on the throttle then for Andrew Morrow. You can see the rev counter, the virtual rev counter, and now braking very, very hard and down into 3rd gear. Bounce across the curbs, back on the gas again as Andrew Morrow gives it everything he can. Just a little lift there, and then back on the gas again. Really interesting to be able to bring you this. Little dab of the brakes, very ahead of actually turning in, just to get the car braking on a straight line before you turning it. Back on the throttle again for this long run where we're going to reach extraordinary speeds. We lose the signal under the bridge, regrettably. And Andrew Morrow doing a good job here, chasing down Danilo Del Favreau. Andrew Morrow was on the top step of the podium yesterday in Trofeo Pirelli, but that's just one of the many things that's great about the Ferrari Challenge. You just don't know what to expect, and one day may not necessarily be the form guide for the next day. So back on board. As you can hear the car accelerating out of the Parabolica. Herbert Guys and Hendrik Viol continuing their battle for what will be P2 in the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli Am race. And Hendrik Viol defending nicely. You can see they're very evenly matched as the lap time evolution there you can see on screen. As we compare Hendrik Viol and Herbert Guys. We go into the Scuderia Prague garage, of course, the team that engineers Hendrik Viol. And he did come so close to the championship last year. Of course, for Scuderia Prague, we'll be heading to a home circuit this year, this season. Welcome return to Brno.
Yeah, absolutely one of our favorite tracks, personally. We haven't been there in quite a number of years, but definitely a roller coaster circuit. Very different characteristic than Monza. No long straights, no long time, full throttle, but really, really interesting one.
You're right. And Hendrik Viol through that Ascari chicane then. And full chat flat now on the back straight. Felix Hersiger, Yasin Ferrati, Dylan Medler, the top 3 Pirelli drivers. We're watching the battle for P2, what will be P2 in Pirelli Am, because Francesco Galli, who's the leader on track, has got that time penalty you can see from the red bars alongside his name. So Andrew Morrow we ride on board with right now. And we cross the timing line. Andrew Morrow currently running P6, that will become P5. And there through that chicane, and our drone giving us a completely different vantage of that chicane. The gap between P1 and P2 in Pirellis is 4.3 seconds now.
Yeah, the clock has hit zeros, but our leader Felix Hersiger is in the second. Oh, as Andrew Morrow now really gets close to Danilo Del Favreau, but obviously through the chicane there was nothing doing. Anyway, Felix Hersiger is now just finishing the second sector, and that means the remainder of this lap plus one more is what is left on this race.
Love listening to the sound of this extraordinary 3-litre twin-turbo V6, which produces 700 horsepower under the bridge. And looking at our timing screen and your screen on the left-hand side, if you look at the bottom of the graphics, it looks like Henri Acid is out of the race. There once again is Hendrik Viol and Herbert Guys, but is Andrew Morrow going to find a way past Danilo Del Favreau before this race is over? we have started the final lap by dint of our race leader having crossed the line. Here comes Andrew Morrow then, is trying to set a move up going into the chicane. You can see Danilo Del Favero gets to the inside of the straight. Andrew Morrow, will he be king of the late breakers and dive to the inside going towards it? He takes a look, he flashes his lights furiously. Is he alongside enough? Well, Danilo Del Favero was able to close the door, but Andrew Morrow is absolutely determined as they take it to the Curva Grande right now. Right in the wheel tracks of Danilo Del Favero, taking a look at the outside. Here is Andrew Morrow, let's ride on board with him now. Again, you're gonna have to be very, very bold here. Will he switch to the inside? Tries to shortcut the chicane. Danilo Del Favero doing good defending, to be fair. He knows exactly where to place the car to deny Andrew Morrow the opportunity to come through. Of course, it is his right to do so. He's defending his track position. But it's brilliant to ride on board here and to see every attempt being made by the former Trofeo Pirelli driver.
Oh, and Felix Herzega is going slow. Drama for the leader again on the final lap, just like yesterday.
Wow.
And Yacine Ferrati's in the lead. Not sure what happened there, but once again, our leader in Pirelli, slow on the final lap. Yacine Ferrati in the lead.
Well, I said earlier on, how could he repay his team that worked hard on the car following qualifying? Well, the Emil Frey team will be absolutely delighted. A win is a win. And the young superstar that is Yacine Ferrati takes win here at Monza. Dylan Medler, P2. And Vincenzo Scarpetta gets to P3 on track. Andrew Morrow did get past Danilo Del Favero, Nico. But it's Mikael Verhagen that wins ahead of Hendrik Viol and Herbert Guys.
And Björn Grossman actually passes Herzega for P4 in Pirelli.
That's remarkable.
And so does Redmans and Colucci. And yeah, there is a problem.
He's got a puncture, hasn't he? Isn't that a rear tyre?
Yeah, there is something. I mean, I don't know how that happened. Yeah, there you can see parts coming off. Maybe there was a contact earlier or something that caused, that compromised the integrity of the Pirelli tire here, but we don't know. Anyway, drama once again, and if you watch the Ferrari Challenge, you have to stay with us until the checkered flag. Never assume anything is safe. Yacine Ferrati, he was in the barriers in qualifying. He's on the top step of the podium after the race.
Amazing.
Dylan Medler, Vincenzo Scarpetta, P2 and P3. Wow, I mean, this, especially in Pirelli, this is a total reversal of yesterday's race.
Yes, yes.
And you have got all the data in front of you. Do we have any repeat podium finisher at all in Pirelli? I'm not even sure.
I don't think. Maybe Vincenzo Scarpetta, P3 on 2 occasions. And the only 2 occasions are both here.
There you go. Wow.
So that's it. Wow, what an amazing race. And you're absolutely right in what you said. You know, you just can't. You cannot afford to take your focus or attention away from the racing that we see with the Ferrari Challenge. Trofeo Pirelli, whether Pirelli or Pirelli Am. Well done to Mikael Verhagen, taking the win then in Pirelli Am. P2 for Hendrik Viol, richly deserved also. Wow. We see some extraordinary racing from the Ferrari Challenge. And there, Yacine Ferrati. Win's a win, Nico. It doesn't matter how you get it, truthfully.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there is the result on screen. Yacine Ferrati, Dylan Medler, Vincenzo Scarpetta, the only top 3 of Pirelli, everybody else further down the order. And then Michael Verhagen, Hendrik Viol and Herbert Guys, the top 3 in the AMs. I mean, all the drivers will say, well, I have had enough bad luck in my career.
Yeah.
So you have to take the break when it comes your way. And, I mean, fair play to everybody.
We need every driver out there to give us the racing that we enjoy. And wherever they finished, congratulations to all our drivers, because you gave us an absolute spectacle. That's what I want to say. And it's true, because it has been a remarkable race. So, Yasin Ferrari, who, of course, over the course of the weekend, Nico, has been coached by last year's Trofeo Pirelli champion from Emil Frey Racing, Giacomo Altoe, who has gone on to, further his motor racing career by what he has been able to achieve through the Ferrari Challenge. Amazing, absolutely amazing. Just when you think you've seen it all, you haven't, have you?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Herbert, guys, really, really good job.
Yep, and he's richly deserving of that, you know. Well done, Herbert.
I do think it might be his first podium, if I'm not...
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. I would have to look into the history of all of last year, which, frankly, I don't have time to do right now. But, yes, I think you are right. And... so, Yasin Ferrari then is being congratulated. It's actually Herbert's second podium, are you telling me, or were you just being rude?
No, it was his second podium here, as he finished P2 last year. So apologies, but in any event, a very, very good result for Herbert, guys.
So, the interview coming up of Michael Verhagen for Ferrari Warsaw. Michael is coached by Larry Tenforta, and he's done a good job with him, because well done to Michael Verhagen, race winner in Trofeo Pirelli Am.
Michael, congratulations from a great qualifying section in this morning to a very big win here in Monza. Can you tell us more about your race and how do you think to celebrate this important win?
Yes, it was a rough start. It was a lot of traffic. Tried to find a safe way. I got 2 mirrors hit, so after 3 rounds with a hard brake, it went back, because you need a mirror here. And then just follow the pace. Try to wait for mistakes from the number 2. And it went perfect. So other one got a time penalty, so that was lucky. But yeah, we're good in the field, so I'm happy.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, you have to take advantage of the misfortune of others on occasions, and you've done that. And well done, Michael Verhagen. Great to hear from Michael then. And yeah, Trofeo Pirelli Am. From here, of course, they head to their to the next event at the Misano circuit, 360 kilometers through Italy, down onto the Adriatic coast. And Emil Frey Racing then, a big name in motor racing, once again using the Ferrari Challenge as a feeder for perhaps other racing categories, and doing a very good job and bringing yet more young talent into the grid, including that of Yasin Ferrari. The day didn't start brilliantly because he put it in the barriers in qualifying, therefore was further back on the grid than he would like to be. But he put it all right in the race and delivered the race win. Let's hear from Yasin Ferrari. Congratulations.
Yasin, congratulations. What an incredible final lap. You win after a clean race for you, but now with you here, I want to discover more your feeling, first of all, and then your strategy about this race.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't have a lot of expectations before the race, but I knew that I'm quite good in racing, more than in qualifying, how it looks like. But my strategy was just to do a clean race, to collect as many points as possible. I knew that the start will be really important because the first corner is really tight, and we managed that quite well. And after I saw that I'm in P5, I thought, okay, we can stay here. And then I saw that few guys went out because of a penalty, which came good for me. And after I was in P2, I just said, okay, I have to stay here. And when I saw that in the last lap I took the lead, it was an incredible feeling for me. I'm really happy, and I think it's a really good start for the season for me. And I hope we can continue like this, also with the support of the team, of Emil Frey. They did so much for me. They helped me in every way they could, so I'm really thankful for them also.
Yasin, congratulations again, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Ciao.
Well done to Yasin Ferrari. Trofeo, Pirelli and Pirelli Am Racing. Race 2 then was about to get underway here at the Monza circuit. As all the drivers then headed towards the pinch point, which is the first chicane. A number of drivers perhaps arguably going before they should have done. Not every driver managing to make it between the white lines when it came to the first chicane, and that would not necessarily bode well for a number of drivers after race control. Took quite some time to take a look at all the infractions through that first chicane. What's going on though, wherever you looked, and overtakes are plenty were going to happen. There was anxiety inside the garages and plenty of goings on the tarmac as well. Marco Zanazzi, another one of the drivers that found a shortcut through the chicane, but so many drivers picking up drive-through penalties. It changed the shape of the race because Luigi Coluccio, who had been leading up until that point, ended up with a penalty. And Hanno Laskowski finding the gravel. You can see that on the pit wall, and Henri Acide, very sideways, he onto the gravel as well. And bringing a lot of that gravel back out. Yasin Ferrari, though, would be victorious for Trofeo Pirelli. He had to take the advantage of misfortune of others. And Michael Verhagen would be victorious in the Trofeo Pirelli Am category. So lots of congratulations down there as the drivers continue to cross the checkered flag. But well done to our two winners. So the race statistics then. Best progress, Yasin Ferrari for the Pirelli drivers. The best progress for Trofeo Pirelli Am, Nico, was Hanno Laskowski, who made up 12 places and finished P7 in the race overall.
Yeah, great job by Hanno. We didn't see a lot of him because there was so much else going on, but fair play to him.
So to the podium next then, and Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli, so two separate podiums to come. To the left-hand side of your picture, the man with the microphone is Michele Mambelli, who will be bringing all our drivers out there. He's kind of in charge of podium ceremonies.
Vincitore, prima vittoria Ferrari Challenge per Yasin Ferrari.
So Vincenzo Scarpetta, Dylan Medler and Yasin Ferrari then on the podium for Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli.
E siamo pronti. Ancora qualche istante. Yasin è sul primo
Emil
gradino
Frey Racing
internazionale.
represented as well. Here comes the national anthem.
Il nostro grande applauso per questi vincitori.
Grand applauso, or make some noise please, for our top three. Yasin Ferrari, Dylan Medler and Vincenzo Scarpetti. Global Head of Endurance and Corsa Clienti, Mr. Antonello Coletta, making the trophy presentation. First of all to Vincenzo Scarpetta, then to Big Dylan Medler, and then to the victorious Emil Frey Racing driver Yasin Ferrari.
Giusto trofeo e premio anche per il team, per Emil Frey Racing.
And of course Emil Frey Racing receiving their trophy too.
Restare sul podio di fianco ai vincitori con il trofeo Pirelli presentato da Anna Chinello, Head of Pirelli Motorsport Marketing.
And then the Pirelli trophy also being presented to Yasin Ferrari from Anna Chinello, Head of Pirelli Motorsport Marketing.
Ragazzi, prego tutti
All the photographs to be taken right now.
Look at the photographs. Thank you.
And Michele ordering them around. Look at the cameras. Oh, and that's the shot you get, you see? Dylan Medler, look at that. He's so tall.
Okay, wait a second now. And Antonello and Anna out of the podium. The team manager too. And attention. 3, 2,
Right, now
1.
it's time for the champagne. Who'll be quickest? Medler in. No, it was Yasin. Yasin Ferrari was the quickest. Up next, of course, we have another podium to come. But the super slow-mo of the top 3 cars for Pirelli, Vincenzo Scarpetta, then Dylan Medler. And then for Emil Frey Racing, it was Yasin Ferrari who delivered the race win. In the Trofeo Pirelli Drivers' Championship, Yasin Ferrari is championship leader ahead of Gilles Remans, Björn Grossman, Vincenzo Scarpetta. Then it's Dylan Medler, Quinn Wiedlisbach, Max Mugelli and Luigi Coluccio, with Felix Herziger and Jean-Luc Darrier. Okay, probably time now for our Trofeo Pirelli AM podium. Very well done to Herbert Guys, who takes P3. Hendrik Viol takes P2. And on the top step of the podium, it will be Mikael Verhagen.
La podio sulla destra per grazie e siamo quasi pronti qui sulla destra, prego.
Ferrari Warsaw also being part of the podium celebrations.
Sentiamo forte il vostro applauso per il podio dei vincitori con i trofei sempre presentati da Antonello Coletta, Global
Antonello Coletta once again is going to make the trophy presentations. First of all to Herbert Guys.
Il trofeo dedicato al secondo pilota classificato Hendrik Viol.
Well done, Hendrik.
Ed il trofeo per il vincitore Antonello Coletta consegna a Mikael Verhagen il trofeo per la vittoria. Giusto trofeo anche per il team Ferrari Varsavia, team manager che riceve il trofeo, e abbiamo Anna Chinello che per Pirelli è Head of Pirelli Motorsport Marketing, consegna il trofeo al vincitore. Anna Chinello che stringe le mani, tutti di fianco ai piloti e poi insieme sul podio per la foto di rito.
Right, all turn towards our photographer if you would please. Smiles all round. Lovely. Antonello and Anna will exit podium left pretty pronto.
Ragazzi, prego.
And who's going to be first with the champagne? Herbert.
The show is not
Come on, Herbert.
Yes!
It's the first one I've got right this weekend. So the top 3 cars then that deliver those results for our drivers. P3 for the Maranello Motors Pro Racing driver Herbert Guys. P2 for Scuderia Prague Racing and Hendrik Viol. And P1 for the Ferrari Warsaw driver Mikael Verhagen. So the Drivers' Championship standings are as follows. Mikael Verhagen P1, Andrew Morrow P2, then it's Hendrik Viol, Marco Zanazzi, Herbert Guys, Francesco Galli, Henri Acid, and Hanno Laskowski, the top 8 in the Drivers' Championship of Trofeo Pirelli AM. With NM P9, Danilo Del Favro P10, then it's Rafael Duran, Gianmarco Marzioletti, Otto Blank, Martin Havas, Andreas Berg Sorensen, And there we have it then, Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli Am done and dusted for the Ferrari Challenge racing here. And here you can see this fantastic program, which you can catch up on the official Ferrari channels.
Very quick alongside his teammate. Oh, no.
Right through for speeding in the pit lane.
So that's it from Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli Am. Thank you for watching, and do bear in mind we have a Coppa Shell race still to come here from Monza before we all head off to Misano. Thanks for watching from Nico and me. Bye-bye for now. The opening round of Ferrari Challenge for 2025 comes live from Monza. Race 2 is for our Coppa Shell drivers. 30 minutes plus 1 lap on the clock for our 15 drivers that will take to the track in the Shell class of the Ferrari Challenge cars. What a calendar we have in prospect for you this year, 2025, the 33rd year of the Ferrari Challenge, and this is where we kick it off. Oh yes, welcome to Monza, around about 20 kilometers from central Milan. Here is the calendar that I was talking about. From here, we drive through Italy for about 360 kilometers to get to Misano. Then it's Hockenheim, Brno in the Czech Republic, Valencia and Barcelona. Then Spa-Francorchamps before the Finale Mondiale at Mugello, which takes place towards the end of October. So a heck of a lot of racing to be done before then. And the first of the racing action comes from within sight of the Alps here in Monza, where the track temperature is 38 degrees, the air temperature a really rather lovely 22 degrees. And it is our Coppa Shell drivers that will be on track. Yesterday's winner was this man, Fabrizio Fontana, and he's put it on pole position once again. Stefano Guy, his driver coach, is talking to him right now, but pole position with a lap time of 1:44.831 from Fabrizio Fontana. And from the back to the front, we will bring you the grid in full on the formation lap. In the meantime, we just walk through here. It's very busy. There's James Wyland then. He goes from a very good qualifying position of P2. A very good driver is James. Done a lot of driving, has raced here in Europe, has also raced in the series in North America, and indeed has raced in Japan as well, if memory serves me, when it was the Asia-Pacific region. I think he did one race. So James Wyland then. Big thumbs up from James. Great guy. So Fontana and Wyland on the front row of the grid. Manuel Acosta and John Dillon on the second row of the grid. They can be danger men and ladies from there, that's for sure. They're both back to where, Nico, I would expect to see them on the grid.
Yeah, definitely. They were race winners, both of them, multiple race winners last year. Didn't have the day that they wanted yesterday, but today was much more according to form, and so a second row start for both of them.
There you can see the Pirelli P0 slick tyres on the tyre trolley there. No danger of them not being needed. I can't see any rain coming down. There is Eric Chung, driver of the 198 car, coached by Daniele Diamato. And there is John Dillon, driving the 151 car, race winner in Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell, drives for Formula Racing. His lap time of 1:45.11, and well done to John Dillon for qualifying P4. So this is race 2 for Coppa Shell. Race 1 took place yesterday. Here are the highlights. Hello everyone. Welcome to the Ferrari Challenge for 2025. Every driver has to go through their grid box. Well, diving, in my opinion, a little early was Zois Grimpias, who's put himself into P3. I suspect race control will take a look at that, because I really think he tried to anticipate the lights, and he may have been a bit too anticipatory. We will see. Fabrizio Fontana leads from Ray Acosta. Then it is Zois Grimpias and Eric Chung. Love this low camera going into the first chicane. As Ray Acosta, king of the late breakers there, getting right on the back of Fabrizio Fontana. Is he going to get a better exit out of this chicane? So a podium is nigh on impossible. Eric Chung now is quicker and closer to Zois Grimpias than he's been. He goes for the outside and he commits to the outside, which would become the inside if he can maintain that position. Zois Grimpias carries too much speed. Eric Chung keeps to the white lines. Surely that's a slam dunk in terms of track limits, Nico, for Zois Grimpias. The checkered flag. He starts the season as he started last season, and the emotions of Stefano Guy, his driver coach, are probably as great as those emotions from Fabrizio Fontana inside his 296 Challenge car. There's been plenty of people down there on the grid to support the drivers. And there, the Kessel Racing driver, Fons Skeltermar, with Cyril alongside. Driver of the 177 car, qualified P10. And listening to final instructions being given to Fons ahead of setting out for this Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell Race 2. Fabrizio Fontana once again then from pole position. There is Manu Gosner, Manuela, and Giorgio Giotto is the driver coach to Manu Gosner. But the Rapata Corsa Ram team, a big team. And there is the driver of the 147 car, Zoe Scrimpias, who won the Coppa Shell Am Championship last year, has been elevated into Coppa Shell this year. He goes from P7 on the grid. He's also being looked after by the Ineco Reporter Corsa Ram team. So a number of drivers, I would suggest, Nico, that are out of position from qualifying, including perhaps the likes of Ray Acosta and Jan Salmon and Fons Skeltermar. Qualifying this weekend has thrown up some curved balls, truthfully.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we said it before, in Pirelli and Shell in particular, but across all our categories, the balance of performance is so good. And I don't mean the technical one, but the balance among the drivers. So, you know, a little bit of a setup here, or, you know, just not feeling 100% with the car there. 1 or 2 tenths can be 2 or 3 rows on the grid. Yes. And, you know, that's just really makes it difficult to predict, and great for us in actual fact, because you never know who's going to be where, and one day to the other can be very different.
You're right. Interesting shot there from a little bit of our camera art there, and from the drone you can see almost the complete complement of Coppa Shell cars on the grid ready for their race 2 of the weekend here at Monza, before all focus and concentration will be on the Misano World Circuit, which is next on the calendar. Before we get to the racing, though, let's go on the road with one of our Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell racers, Manuela Gosner.
Ciao a tutti, sono Manuela Gosner, una pilota del Ferrari Challenge e corro nelle categorie Shell col team Ineco reparto Corsa Ram. Siamo a Monza per la prima gara del campionato Ferrari Challenge Europe. Guidare una Ferrari è sempre una sensazione magica, sia in pista che fuori pista in strada, è un'emozione ogni volta. Non c'è nessun altro campionato che può creare questo ambiente, questa passione che trasmette il Ferrari Challenge, quindi siamo tutti veramente molto legati tra i piloti, c'è un'atmosfera bella, ci vogliamo bene, siamo in competizione, però siamo anche tutti amici. Quindi è veramente un'atmosfera unica.
Manuela Gosner then arriving at the circuit here at Monza. And this circuit situated in the Royal Villa of Monza Park, 12 turns, 4 left and 8 right. The Temple of Speed, 20 kilometers from central Milan, and the circuit with so much history and heritage. It was founded back in 1922. And it's about to feel the wrath of our Coppa Shell drivers. We get ready to get racing underway. Cars all released on their formation lap. We'll bring you the grid in full from back to front. And there you can see. That's a great shot, actually, from our drone at the first chicane, and how difficult that is to funnel all the cars through there. We ride on board with the Richard Mille safety car. Ruslan Sadriv goes from P15. P14 for Thomas Gosner, P13 for Michael Martin. To the next row, it's Ray Acosta and Jan Sandman, two drivers perhaps arguably out of position on row 6, as are Fons Skeltermar and Cristiano Maciel, potentially P10 and P9. Oscar Lee Rinčević and Zois Skrimpias are P8 and P7, and on row 3 we find Eric Chung and Christian Kinch. Then to the second row of the grid, John Dillon and Manuel Gosner, and on the front row it is P2 for James Weiland, P1 for Fabrizio Fontana. So 5.793 kilometers of formation lap, then it will be the responsibility of Fabrizio Fontana and James Weiland to control the pace of the rolling start. So great job done by Fabrizio Fontana. He took the win yesterday and pole position yesterday, and he's taken pole position again today.
It's amazing. It's a second pole in my home track. The car is okay. 296 is wonderful. And see you later for the race, too, in Monza.
Cheers, Fabrizio. Can he convert that pole into another win, Nico?
Well, later is now, and so we're about to find out. It's only a few more turns. We're out of Ascari, so it's the back straight through the parabolica. The safety car will peel off, and then it's down to our 15 drivers to do battle. And we hope that we get through the pinch point of turn 1 okay, and then the race will be on for sure.
You are absolutely right. So the Richard Mille safety car then will peel off into the pit lane, as Nico indicates, and then it will be the responsibility of the front row to control the pace of the rolling start. Now, when the cars roll through on that start-finish straight, they have to go through, or at least part of their car has to go through their grid boxes. And if they don't, that's when the start becomes under investigation and penalties could be applied. So just bear that in mind. We hope that is not the case, but one driver was making a point, and it was Max Mugelli that was speaking to me just after the Pirelli race. It's jolly difficult to see where your grid box is from the car.
Yeah, definitely, and especially if you're running in the pack, you kind of have to orient yourself by the car in front of you because you're so low in the cockpit.
If they're off kilter, you've had it. All eyes on the lighting gantry then, which we throw to the top of the screen for you, as we get ready to go racing as soon as the lights go out. So it's a very good start from James Weiland, and perhaps a too good a start from James Weiland. Fabrizio Fontana then on the inside. Manuel Gosner getting to the inside of John Dillon. Eric Chung all the way around the outside. And John Dillon there. Also, Fons Skeltermar shortcuts the chicane. Case of having to, because too many cars in the way. Fabrizio Fontana, I think, has been pushed down to maybe even P4. As James Weiland on track leading from Eric Chung, and then I think it's John Dillon P3. Where's Manu Gosner in the mix? Did she drop back as well? The start is under investigation, perhaps no surprise there. Ray Acosta has made some progress.
Yeah, Manu Gosner is down in P8.
She's got a problem. I think she's slowing, isn't she, Nico?
Yeah, she was good, had a good pace at the beginning. There is her father, and she's running behind him, but she had a problem. Good start initially, but then dropped down, and as you said, Fabrizio Fontana...
He got mugged, really.
He got mugged, and I think James Weiland really had an early go. Whether that was too early, we will find out, but John Dillon and Eric Chung certainly the beneficiaries of that.
Well, of course, in fairness, race control have got access to data, sensors, cameras, all sorts of things. They can tell scientifically, whereas us, it's just how we see it, and trying to look at 3-4 things at the same time. James Weiland leading from Eric Chung, from John Dillon, from Fabrizio Fontana running in P4, ahead of Fons Skeltermar, who had a very good start, but I do recall that Fons had to shortcut the chicane. There was no other way that he could do that without making contact with other cars. So I think race control take a look at that and consider that as well, going through the chicane for the first time of asking. But let's put the first lap then in the book. and go into the chicane for the second time of asking as Eric Chung gets ever closer to James Wyland.
Manu Gostner, we can see, has come into the pit lane.
You can't see that, but we can see that from our studio. And yeah, you're right, Nico. Manuela Gostner in stride. She's had a torrid weekend of it, if I'm honest with you, but she will come good. And there's Eric Chung then pushing from that P2 position. Let's ride on board with Eric Chung right now. Driver coach is Daniele Diamato. And he'll be on the radio to Eric Chung. We run the telemetry on the car as well, so you can see exactly the information that's being fed to Eric Chung inside the 296 Challenge car as well. 200 kilometers per hour right now, 5th gear, up to 6th gear now. This long stretch going under the bridge, reaching very nearly 280 kilometers per hour before having to brake for this chicane where the curbs have been somewhat lowered, which allows you to carry much more speed through this chicane, get a great exit, and then onto the what I call the back straight here. One driver running very, very wide there, and I'm pretty sure that was Oscar Lee Rintovic in the all-black car who managed to sort of gather it all up and save it. Now, drag race between Thomas Gostner and Ray Acosta here. There is Ray Acosta in the 107 car. Ray racing not only in the Ferrari Challenge here in Europe, but also in North America as well. Supremely talented driver. Further down the order than we would expect to see him. Here comes Fabrizio Fontana taking a look at the inside of John Dillon. Nothing doing. It remains Wyland, Chung and Dillon. They are the top three, Nico.
Yeah, and there is a replay of that scene with Rintovic, and yeah, he controlled it nicely. Would have liked to not having to do that, but he kept it together. Ray Acosta, you said it, as we see Manu Gostner is back out on the track, which is good to see. Now she effectively is lapped almost by James Wyland. She would like to be on terms with him on the track, but not on this occasion. Will certainly happen later in the season. And there is a replay of the start now. Oh, and as we see that, we get the information, a drive-through penalty for James Wyland, incorrect starting alignment, and also for John Dillon behind him. So that throws the spanner in the works for the race of two of our race leaders, P1 and P3.
Yes, it does. And I don't think it'll be the only penalties that we see before the end of the race, potentially. Riding on board with Eric Chung, who was brave down the outside, Nico, and got right alongside and up into P2. So you'll see it on screen in a moment's time that both John Dillon and James Wyland have got drive-through penalties. Now, John Dillon has just been overtaken by Fabrizio Fontana, and there is confirmation of those drive-through penalties for incorrect starting alignments for both James Wyland and for John Dillon. So that elevates Eric Chung into the lead. It elevates Fabrizio Fontana into P2 and Christian Kinch into P3 by my reckoning.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, don't be confused that Manu Gostner is ahead of the leader. She is down virtually a lap. She could use a safety car if she were allowed to be unlap herself, or effectively unlap herself. But James Wyland is leader for the moment on track. That will become Eric Chung once the penalties have been taken. Well, I had another look at the replay of the start. It looked like they were going through the grid boxes. Certainly James Wyland seemed to be way ahead of the pole setter Fabrizio Fontana. Maybe John Dillon was also ahead of where he should have been based on his starting position.
Maybe.
But, you know, we don't know exactly. That's just our interpretation. Fact is, penalties have been awarded and have to be taken within 3 laps of being awarded and announced.
And as I said earlier on, when we knew that the race was, the start was under investigation, race control have sensors. They have all sorts of things at their disposal that they can use. And this is how Fabrizio Fontana got by John Dillon. In fairness, fair overtake there. Right, take a look now, Nico. Yeah, and you can see there that John is ahead. James is definitely ahead. And do you know what? You're using the car in front as a bit of a reference, but that doesn't make that's not an excuse, is it? I don't think.
No, I mean, it is a reality. You have to orient yourself, and you have to have your wits about you and look at 20 things at the same time, but obviously you are responsible where your car is. I mean, maybe a sigh of relief for von Skeltemer. His shortcutting the chicane through in that start sequence has gone not unnoticed, but unpenalized.
And I rather think that, you know, and I said this earlier on this weekend, that I think race control take a view that, you know, if you're doing it as an avoidance tactic rather than an advantage tactic, I think on lap 1 you might get away with it.
Absolutely, yeah. If that had been any other lap, I'm sure that would have been looked at differently, but so von Skeltemer runs in P5, hasn't had the luck of the rub of the green thus far, but after the penalties have been taken, he, I believe, will be in P4, which is the best finish, would be the best finish in a long time for him. So von Skeltemer almost on podium course.
Yep. John Dillon then, he has not taken his drive-through penalty yet. I think he's got the remainder of this lap plus one more before he has to be seen to take it. So there is Eric Chung, our race leader. Fabrizio Fontana is chasing and has set the fastest lap. And Stefano Guy is on the radio to him, as you can see from the split screen. He's getting ever so close now to Eric Chung. Fabrizio Fontana at his home race would love to make it 2 out of 2 this weekend, and his first showing in the 296 challenge. He raced in the 488s last year, where he was victorious in the championship. If he can make it 2 out of 2, he would be thrilled to bits about that, that's for sure. So rather think that John Dillon has dived into the pit lane right now, because we don't see him there no more. And here comes Fabrizio taking a look at the inside.
Well, that was close to the edge of the track, and can't allow yourself to put a car onto the dirt. That can go horribly wrong, but Fabrizio Fontana controlled it. Christian Kinch very close behind von Skeltemer, who has done the overtake now, and that means von Skeltemer is on a podium course now.
Fantastic.
So I believe Fons didn't have a podium last year, which I believe was the first season, at least in a long time, that he didn't finish on the podium.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. So here's Eric Chung, here's Fabrizio Fontana. This is for the lead of the race. Eric Chung accelerates. Fabrizio trying to pick his... Fabrizio trying to pick his point of where he will try and find a word past Eric Chung. Ain't going to be easy. Eric is a darn good racer, Nico.
Uber experienced for sure, has been part of the challenge for a long, long time, and Fabrizio Fontana obviously hails from rallying. Entered the championship last year, so sideways is very much familiar to him. Racing also is on the track, as we could see last year. He didn't miss a beat, but Eric Chung is certainly one who knows where to position the car, has all the routine, and certainly a very cool, calm character.
Of course they do. At the end of the year, they have a rally show here at Monza. I'm just trying to think in my dim distant memory whether Fabrizio Fontana has been part of that. He must have been, I would have thought, this being effectively his home.
I will try and find out.
Oh, no, I wasn't giving you a challenge, forgive the pun. I promise you. So there they go through the chicane. 19 minutes plus 1 lap remaining in the Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell race then, that is being led by Eric Chung with Fabrizio Fontana P2, von Skeltemer is P3, and the Oracle alongside me has confirmed that Fabrizio Fontana has indeed been part of the Monza Rally show.
Multiple times, actually. I could find a reference from 2008 already, so he knows this place inside out. And as he said in the intro, it's his home track, so he would.
Right. Well, James Wyland and John Dillon have both returned following their drive-through penalty, but they're down there P12 and P14 right now. They've still got just under 20 minutes within which to make some progress before the end of the race, and I feel sure that they will. Chung. Everything under control, but I'll tell you what, somebody that has got real pace and has set the fastest lap is Manuela Gosner. Now, she may be a lap down, but the race leaders can't get close to her.
No, and yeah, I mean, that will be in a way comforting for her, that she knows she's got the pace. She's actually leading the leaders. As there is Zoe Skrimpias having a look.
Having a look at Christian Kinch, I believe. And that would be for P4, would it not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ray Acosta taking a look at Thomas Gosner, and that would be for P8. And there is Manu Gosner in the blue, yellow, pink, white car, lap down. This is our race leader, Eric Chung, not a lap down. Fabrizio Fontana right behind in P2, and they've both broken away a little bit from Fons Skelterma, who is running in P3, but Fons Skelterma just sets the fastest lap, Nico, so quite clearly he's got pace too. 17 minutes plus a lap remaining in this Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell race. As the sun shines here in Monza. There, the shark's teeth of Skelterma then for Kessel Racing. Whoa, bouncing that across the curbs as he takes as much as he can. Zoe Skrimpias on the back of Christian Kinch right now. Oh, and around has gone Ray Acosta. Ray has found the gravel, but he gets the car out of it and gets going once again. That speed camera. Wow, wow, love that sound. As the cars run past. Whoa, Fabrizio Fontana was thinking about having a go into that chicane. But in the end, he decided not to. He's as close as he has been to Eric Chung. If those two cars were welded together, they could not be closer. Fabrizio Fontana on the entry to the Parabolica. Makes contact with the back end of Eric Chung. That sends Eric Chung around. That was really unfortunate because I suspect Eric just did not expect Fabrizio to have a go there. We'll get it in replay in a moment, I am sure. But I knew Fabrizio was going to have a go there because he was just so close. He was right in the slipstream. Take a look, Nico. So this is the start of the back straight before the Parabolica. Look, they couldn't be closer together. Now, Fabrizio goes for the inside line. You can see Eric under braking. I wonder whether Fabrizio came over to the left a little bit.
Yeah, it looked like he was a little bit skirmish under braking. Let's have another look at there if you can see it still. It was a little bit wiggly.
Yes.
You can see it's a little bit of a wiggle, unintentional, but yeah.
From that camera angle, which really reinforces it. Oh, and look at the disappointment on Daniele Diamato and Corina Chung's faces, because Eric certainly didn't turn in on him, and that's changed the shape of this race. Now, if you race control, do you look at that and think it's a racing incident?
Well, race control will have a look at that, and they will have an informed look at that. For the moment, it's Fabrizio Fontana, Fons Skelterma, Christian Kinch, Zoe Skrimpias. Just having done a little bit of research, Fons Skelterma's last podium was at the World Final in Mugello at the end of 2023, so he's very much on par and en route to break that streak that he had in 2024. Although, having seen what we've seen here in Monza already this weekend, I'm not going to make any predictions of who's going to finish where.
No, probably best not to. Right, taking a look at Thomas Gosner, here is Jan Sandman. So Jan Sandman on the inside of Thomas Gosner has probably done enough here, I would think, if he can hold on to that inside line. But Thomas Gosner has got good momentum out of the Parabolica. It's the fight that's going on for P7. Let's get our drone camera to pick them all up then as they come in towards that chicane. And there Gosner and Sandman do go through. Fabrizio Fontana leading from Fons Skelterma. And now Fons Skelterma has dropped down the order. Oh. We both said it in stereo then. So what has happened there, because Christian Kinch has gone through, Zoe Skrimpias has gone through, and von Skeltermaier in the 177 car has dropped and actually dropped back behind Oscar Lee Rinčević as well.
Yeah, he lost 4 seconds on that first sector. Now it looks like the pace is there, something we will monitor. But was that just a momentary issue, or did he run off the track and didn't have momentum? It didn't look like it, but...
didn't see any dust coming up, Nico, did we?
No, not really. It was really, really curious, because now he's running at normal speed again. The incident among Fabrizio Fontana and Derek Chung obviously under investigation. We get that on our timing screen, no surprise there. So we will give you an update, and the graphics will do likewise when we get more news on that. Von Skeltermaier drops down into 5th position.
So that means it's on track. Fabrizio Fontana, Christian Kinch and Zoe Skrimpias. 1, 2, 3, Nico.
Yeah, Oscar Lee Rinčević. So should anything happen to Fabrizio Fontana's clean sheet in terms of race control, he has Jan Sadman on the inside. Now he's well positioned, but he pulls out of it, maybe for the better, and
yeah, I agree.
Chases Thomas Gostner further on. 11 minutes and a half plus a lap still remaining. There is still plenty of potential for this race to unfold in a multitude of directions that we just saw it a few moments ago.
He's got a drive-through penalty, Nico. Our race leader is getting a drive-through penalty for causing a collision. I can tell you that from race control. You'll see it on your screen in a moment. That means Christian Kinch will be leading the race. There it is, confirmation. Our race leader gets a drive-through penalty for causing a collision. I have to say, Nico, I think it's the right call. Yeah, having seen it from the second camera angle. The first camera angle, I wouldn't want to have called it, but having seen it from the second one, I think that was the right decision.
I agree. I think it was entirely unintentional, obviously, and he didn't want to. But that wiggle, the race control will say you have to control your car. You are responsible for where it is. Wiggle or not, you pushed another car, and yeah, it was really, really unavoidable.
And all of it is academic to Eric Chung, who's running P10. You know, he will get P9 probably, but as von Skeltermaier has got his pace back again, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Oscar Lee Rinčević right alongside.
And this is effectively for the final podium position, because it's currently for P4, and Fabrizio Fontana.
Yes.
So von Skeltermaier is fighting for that podium. Whatever happened there, he is fighting for that podium, and you can see Jan Sadman still chasing Thomas Gostner. He wants to have a go. I don't think he's just close enough on this occasion. Lots of drama in this race. Once again, 10 minutes plus a lap remaining.
This will be, as it stands, it would elevate Christian Kinch into the lead of the race. Sabina, Christian's daughter, who I know will be watching this. What about that? The old fella's doing good here. I'm in trouble. So Zoe Skrimpias will be up to P2. And when Zoe Skrimpias realises that he's got the opportunity, potentially, what's the gap between Kinch and...
2.5
Skrimpias?
Well, it's still 10 minutes on a lap.
10 minutes in a row. Oh, goodness me. What were you saying about in so many multiple directions? The face of this race could change yet. Gostner and Sadman, P7. Whoa, Sadman now to the inside of Gostner. I think he's done it, Nico.
Well, not quite. This isn't over yet, but it's a bloody nice to watch. And great fair driving.
Absolutely, you've taken the words out of my mouth. I mean, they were absolutely respectful to each other, and now Sadman's efforts at doing that have done so. Oh my!
Oh my God!
Well, that was brought about by seeing the opportunity or sensing an opportunity to take advantage. Safety car is out.
I can't help but think that's a red flag and the race being stopped. I can't.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
I think Jan Salmon was still focusing forward and just didn't expect Eric Chung to come by.
I agree.
And that was just an incident and then catapulted into the air. I mean, fortunately, there are the barriers, and the integral safety of the 296 challenge is remarkable. But that was a huge impact, and oh god, that is the best sight of today.
Says something about these wonderful 296 Ferrari Challenge cars, does it not? Because that car, Nico, that was up in the air, and yeah, great to see. Korean, who I know will be watching this in the garages, so pleased to see that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the race is still underway with 7 minutes 16 seconds plus that one lap ticking down.
Now, what you were saying about the red flag, Nico, I mean, that's, I would have thought, almost inevitable. I mean, it's parabolica, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, I think race control will have a good look at that. They don't want to end the race when there is still a possibility to go racing, but in fairness, to make sure that the barrier is intact and is able to do what it's supposed to do, which it just did in this instance.
And there is a car there.
Absolutely. So I think maybe they will give the cars one more lap to see if they can get back under, and there is the red flag. There is the red flag. It's no surprise. Fair play to race control to really look at it.
Yes,
not just make a decision. There is the replay coming up. That's out of Ascari, where Jan Sabman was alongside Thomas Goester, dropping down. Yeah, and then just didn't expect there to be another car overtaking.
No. Oh, let's see it from on board, Nico. So, look at that. I repeat, that is the driver of that car, Eric Chung. He is perfectly okay. Walks away from that, and there is Korean. He's absolutely fine and has walked away. So credit to all those involved in the design and manufacture of the Ferrari Challenge 296 car in terms of the safety.
Wow. So what will happen? I mean, Fabrizio Fontana was still due to take a drive-through penalty. Generally, if we don't restart, and that's the first thing that we will have to find out now that we know that the drivers are okay, would be converted to a 25-second penalty, which under red flag conditions, under the safety car, everybody bunched up, would obviously mean he would drop effectively to the end of the grid.
Yeah.
But we have no indication yet from race control whether there will be a restart. 6.5 minutes is effectively the time where it's on the edge. Yeah. But if there is a major repair to the barriers, will that influence the decision of not starting again? Because effectively this is the last race of the day.
Yeah, I mean there are. I would think there is significant work to be done on those barriers, Nico. And that's my opinion. That it's not going to be the work of a moment to put those barriers back into their position. Therefore, I would have thought that the race will be ended here. Fabrizio Fontana will pick up a time penalty, but yeah, who knows? Who knows? The most important thing is to tell you that Eric Chung is perfectly okay. He's walked away from the high-flying 296 Challenge car. Are you sure? So let's see what is going to happen. 6.5 minutes plus 1 lap when the race got red flagged. That is the Ray Acosta car that we can see there. And they're the 109 car of Michael Martin. And, well, the order that we had on track was Fabrizio Fontana, Christian Kinch, and then Zoe Skrimpias, the 1, 2, 3. But Fabrizio Fontana had been given a drive-through penalty, hadn't taken the drive-through penalty, and therefore that would elevate Christian Kinch into the race lead with Zoe Skrimpias P2, von Skeltermar P3. So we're just awaiting any news from race control with regards to the situation. And as Nico says, we were on 6.5 minutes plus 1 lap, so right on the edge of, James Wyland had made it back up to P10 following his drive-through penalty, which would potentially... Well, we're being informed that the driver we saw walking away, which initially we thought was Eric, wasn't Eric, but Eric is making signals to the marshals inside the car that he's okay.
Okay.
That's the latest information we have. So forgive us for just assuming, which we did, but that's the latest we have. There's the von Skeltermar car. And the Monza circuit then playing host to the opening round of the Ferrari Challenge for this year. A packed calendar. We go from here to Misano, then to Hockenheim, Brno, Valencia, Barcelona, Spa, Francorchamps, and Mugello. And the race will not be resumed, I'm seeing from race control. And just while everything is resettled, we have a drone show that we are able to bring you and take a look at some of these images that we can see from our drone. There's confirmation that the race will not be resumed. So, as promised then, here's some of the images that we can bring you from our drone. So the images from our drone there, here at Monza, Ferrari Challenge, Trofeo Pirelli Racing, Coppa Shell Racing, Coppa Shell Am, Trofeo Pirelli Am. It's the Coppa Shell race that we have just been watching, and confirmation of the result then. It is Christian Kinch that takes the win. It's been a while since Christian has won. He takes P1, Zoe Skrimpias P2, von Skeltermar P3. And then it's Ray Acosta, James Wyland, John Dillon, Ruslan Sadriv, Manuel Agostina, Jan Sandman, Eric Chung. That's the way the order is for the Coppa Shell race, which has been completed. The race will not be resumed. We have that information from race control, and indeed you have seen that on screen also. So the drivers will be heading off to Misano, a very different track to that here in Monza for the next round of the Ferrari Challenge for 2025. And 1 round extra in 2025 as opposed to 2024 as we look at the Michael Martin car.
Yeah, Misano is one of those very rare tracks which has seen a reversal of race direction in its history. Started out as a counterclockwise direction race and now is being raced in a clockwise direction, which is really, really remarkable. And we, as we said earlier, we will have evening races there on the Saturday with the floodlights at the track. That's going to be a unique sight, certainly on this year's calendar. We had a few of those in the past. Portimao was one that we had a sunset race, and we've done it in Misano as well. And that will only be 12 days from now that we will have racing in Misano. And so I believe what will happen is Parc Fermé will be here in the pit lane. Given this is the last race, I think they will not force the drivers to linger in the car, but they will send the podium finishers out onto the podium.
Yes. John Dillon walking away, you can see there. I think that's Pino Foscaro we can see also. There's the James Wyland car. Forgive me, I really rather rudely interrupted you there, Nico. I think you're right. I think that is what will happen. There's Ray Acosta with Marco Bononomi, his driver coach. That is a brilliant combo. Marco Bononomi able to get the best out of Ray Acosta, who's a great driver. And the coach and driver, oh, talking of which, there's another coach and driver, Giorgio and Manuel Agosna. The coach and driver combination so important in terms of racing, Nico.
Yeah, absolutely. And the drivers are really, I mean, they are on their own in the car, but any bit of information and advice is really helpful. There is Fabrizio Fontana, great pace, but because of that early incident and the fact that everybody was bunched up at the end all the way down to P8, which means his perfect weekend has been compromised, but obviously our, everything at the end of this race is very much subdued because of the incident that we had in the race, and I think we will see that with a
sense of camaraderie and friendship, which is not replicated in every racing series around the world. Talking of which, the Ferrari Challenge does race around the world, here in Europe, but not only in Europe, in Australasia, in Japan, in North America, and in the UK as well. So there we can see the Fabrizio Fontana car. Now Fabrizio raced in the 488 Challenge last year, and is racing in the 296 Challenge this year. Took a win yesterday, pole position yesterday, took pole position today, but finishing P8 following a drive-through penalty which he was not able to take, and it was a time penalty then, therefore, that he picked up by not being able to take the drive-through penalty. So that means Christian Kinch taking the win from Zoe Skrimpias and Fons Geltermar. The top three. So the 109 car of Michael Martin, the Maranello Motors Schumacher Racing driver, his car being pushed back towards the Parc Fermé area. Now, the banner that you can see across the start-finish straight here at Monza, indicative of all the Corsa Clienti programs from Ferrari. The Ferrari Challenge is part of it. There is also the Sport Prototipi, the XX programs, the F1 Clienti, and of course there's Club Challenge and Club Competizione as well. So there's a lot that goes on with Corsa Clienti. It's a fantastic part of Ferrari. And oftentimes at these weekends, it's not only Ferrari Challenge racing, but other elements that take part in the weekend's festivities as well. And there with the Alps as the backdrop here at Monza. Remember, I go back into maybe 14, 15 years ago when I first came here to Monza. It was my first ever Ferrari Challenge event. At that time, it was fairly typical that Monza would open the racing for the year. And somebody that's a driver coach now, Max Blancardi, I think was certainly the favourite and went on to become the champion in that year, in my first year of the Ferrari Challenge as well. And he and I have remained friends. In fact, we were on a plane coming back together from Sonoma just a few weeks ago. Yeah, very interesting how this Ferrari gets into you, the Ferrari Challenge. And goodness, I've been here for a lot of years now, Nico. It seems a long time ago. Went back to when it all started here in Monza for me, that's for sure. So Christian Kinch then takes the win in the Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell race ahead of Zoe Skrimpias and Fons Geltemar. So let's take a look at the Formula Racing car from Christian Kinch. Very different colour scheme to that we're used to seeing with Christian. He promises me that the white and green is coming back. And we hope to hear from Christian Kinch. Taking another win in Ferrari Challenge. His family will be absolutely delighted. And Christian will be pretty happy about it as well, I'm sure. Okay, let's hear from him now. Christian Kinch is with Ludovica.
Christian, first of all, congratulations, a very incredible and particular race. As you said before, I don't believe it. Before the race, I was thinking about that there was no chance, but now you are here ready to celebrate this important result for you.
Yes, I'm almost out of words, which is not very usual for me. I just, mamma mia. To win at Monza, I start 5 and just everything went my way. Small things here and there and just falling into place. I cannot believe it. I mean, Monza was my first ever podium like ages ago, and now I get to win at the Temple of Speed. It's just a dream come true. I'm so happy, so happy.
Christian, congratulations and thank you for this interview.
Thank you, thank you.
Grande. Well, Christian's right. He's not normally short of words, and he wasn't. Let's take a look at the highlights then of Coppa Shell Race 2 here at Monza. Fabrizio Fontana, James Wyland side by side. A number of drivers a bit wayward at the start, and that would come to haunt some of those drivers as race control would take a look at various replays of the start and make decisions accordingly. Christian Kinch was very, very lively, getting past Fons Geltemar. That was a great overtake. And Stefano Guy, of course, driver coach to Fabrizio Fontana, who was diving past John Dillon. And there's James Wyland having to take a drive-through penalty. Eric Chung and Fabrizio Fontana side by side. Then a little bit of contact between the two of them, and Fabrizio Fontana deemed to have been responsible for that. He picked up a drive-through penalty, which actually became a time penalty because a drive-through penalty could not be taken. In the end, it would be Christian Kinch that would take the win from Zoe Skrimpias and Fons Geltemar. So we are going to be heading up to the podium to see Fons Geltemar, Zoe Skrimpias and Christian Kinch. Germano Toniella, a Coppa Shell AM driver. Pino Frascaro, a Coppa Shell AM driver. Here come the drivers out onto the podium. Von Skeltermar, Zoe Scrimpias and Christian Kinch.
Chiamiamo anche il team Formula Racing a completare il podio. Arriva anche il team manager Formula Racing qui di fianco al podio. Podium, near the podium.
Formula Racing represented, of course.
Inno nazionale.
National anthem time.
Sfuma l'inno nazionale, il vostro applauso per il podio dei vincitori, trofei
Trophy presentation time.
da Giuseppe Redelli, presidente Autodromo Nazionale di Monza, il trofeo per il terzo classificato.
And here comes Giuseppe Redelli, Presidente Autodromo Nazionale di Monza, making the trophy presentation, first of all, to Von Skeltermar.
Il trofeo d'onore per il pilota sul secondo gradino
Up next,
del podio,
of course, it will be Zoe Scrimpias.
E il trofeo d'onore per il
And
vincitore
the P1
dalla
trophy
Svezia, Christian Kinch.
Goes the way of Christian Kinch. Well done, Christian.
Trofeo d'onore anche per il team
well done.
per Formula Racing, sempre presentato
Formula
da
Racing
Giuseppe Redelli.
in receipt of a podium as well.
Ok, chiamo il dottor Redelli qui di fianco al podio. E please, together on the podium, anche il dottor Redelli sul podio.
Christian Kinch is the sort of driver
camera, prego. Look at the
that would say, to heck with the photos, I want the champagne uncorked. However,
Here, guys. Just turn a little bit. Yeah.
and there they all are on the podium. Right. Well, I think it was Zois who was maybe first with the champagne. Von Skeltermar takes P3. Zoe Scrimpias, P2. A return to the podium for Zoe Scrimpias. And P1 for Christian Kinch from Formula Racing. Drivers' Championship, Fabrizio Fontana leading from Zoe Scrimpias and Christian Kinch. Then it's Ray Acosta, Eric Chung, Von Skeltermar, Cristiano Maziel. John Dillon, P8 in the Drivers' Championship, ahead of James Weiland, Thomas Gosner, Oscar Lee Rincevic, Michael Martin, Jan Sandman, Manuela Gosner, and Ruslan Sadriv, P15. So, I've done the calculations. It's 360 kilometers from Monza to Misano, and that's where we're heading next. On behalf of Nico and myself, thank you so much for watching the Ferrari Challenge, the Coppa Shell race, our final race of what has been a packed weekend of racing here at Monza. Just a couple of weeks' time, and we will see you at the World Circuit Marco Simoncelli in Misano. But once again, on behalf of Nico and myself, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the Adriatic coast. Bye-bye for now.